We're just getting started here. Please be patient. All right. We should be all set up. Time to destroy some globers. I don't know, any proof? Planar terology? Sounds like we have a shill over here. No, I can't read. I do need to be able to see. Yeah, it turns out that if you study physics long enough, you learn about torusology. And that's how you end up at flat Earth. That's how you get there. How about little g? You are a little g, aren't you? Bro's a coward. Never flown before? I've flown further than any of you globeheads ever had. Alright, let's bring up our first victim.
Our first victim.
That's what we call you, globeheads.
Alright, well, okay, so if the Earth is flat, then how come all the satellites don't see like a flat part?
What satellites?
Satellites in space, mate.
Space isn't real? You think space is real?
Yeah.
Have you ever been there?
Oh no, I've never been there.
Then why do you think space is real? Do you just believe people like the Bible?
Oh yeah, I do believe the Bible.
Oh, okay, so you just believe whatever anybody tells you.
Oh no, I don't.
So you haven't been to space, so who told you that space is real?
Who told you that space isn't real?
Have you ever been there? I'm just being skeptical, dude.
I've
That's
never
called
been there, no.
intellectual honesty.
But there's people that have been there.
Oh, how do you know they're telling the truth?
Because all the people that went up to space in the rockets have said that space
You know
is
that,
real.
like, all of those
What's-
people are Freemasons, right?
Yeah, but it doesn't
Why
matter.
should we trust them?
Well, yeah, but there's more evidence than that, innit?
More evidence than that? From Freemasons?
No, there's more evidence elsewhere
Oh, like where?
from the satellites.
The satellites aren't real, bro. It's all CGI.
All CGI. So have you?
You've
What?
seen the pictures that NASA releases. You think that those are real?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I bet you probably believe that the Avatar movie was real too.
No, no, mate. I can tell the difference between a fictional movie, something that an organization has said is facts.
Oh, okay. And you just trust NASA even though they were founded by a Nazi?
Well, they're not run by Nazis anymore.
How
So,
do you know that?
well, I'd hope they aren't run by Nazis anymore. But even if they are run by Nazis, I don't think they're lying about space.
Oh, because Nazis would never lie.
I'm not saying they never lie. I don't think they lie about space.
Oh, okay. So they only don't lie about the one thing. Got it.
Mm. So let's say you take a plane from the UK to Australia, which are on other sides of the Earth. Yeah, and you drop a ball on like in the UK and it goes down. and you also drop a ball in Australia and it goes down. That's called gravity. So
No, it's called density and electrostatic attraction.
no, but it's because of gravity that the ball's going down, isn't it?
You know that gravity was disproved by Einstein in 1915?
No, gravity is the
Why
same
do you
thing as
think he won his Nobel Prize?
acceleration. Yeah, but gravity still exists.
No, it's electrostatics, bro. Get with the program.
No, it's gravity.
Can you prove it?
I'm pretty sure I'd know if it was disproved that gravity was real.
Oh, when was the last time you read a physics book?
Oh, actually, the other day, I take physics as a subject.
Oh, okay. And did you ever measure gravity yourself?
No.
Oh,
That's pretty
okay.
obvious.
So
When I
you're just
jump in the
believing
air
people again.
and I go back down, that's gravity.
How can you tell gravity apart from electromagnetism?
I don't know what electromagnetism. That's where like, oh, I've done that before actually. I still don't know what it is, but like, the electromagnets are stronger than normal magnets. That's all I know.
Yeah, so like, bro, if you don't even know what electromagnetism is, how can I take you seriously about believing in gravity?
How can I take you seriously? You think the Earth is flat?
I have evidence. You have vibes and beliefs based off of
Give me
NASA
no. Tell
Nazis
me
and
that.
fake Freemason astronauts.
I'm actually an open-minded person, but I believe that the Earth is round. So that's what I say. If you were to prove to me that the Earth is flat, then
How about
I'd.
this? We can see too far. If the Earth was round, you shouldn't be able to see things. You shouldn't be able to see Sears Tower from across Lake Michigan.
Yeah, that's called render distance. No, I'm just joking, but no, stupid though.
It's stupid. It
Yeah,
debunks your whole globe.
it doesn't.
Oh, so then how are you seeing so far?
You don't see so far.
You've never seen Sears Tower from across Lake Michigan?
Wait, I'm totally not taking this from a comment, but optical distortion due to curvature exists.
You're taking it from a comment. Do you even know what those words mean?
Uh, hmm. Indeed.
Okay, what do they mean?
No, you gotta be trolling though. No, I can't believe that. Like, you actually seem like a smart guy. Uh, flat Earth notwithstanding, you can't tell me that you believe that the Earth is flat.
I mean, look, I'd say the same thing about you, but globe heads are just bought into the whole thing.
Nah, you gotta be messing with me. There's gotta be rage bait at its finest.
If it was rage bait, wouldn't I be raging?
No, you gotta be rage baiting me.
Oh, are you
All the
raging?
people that come on here. This is no. There's no way you actually think the Earth is flat. I cannot believe that.
It turns out that that's what the smartest people in the world think. There's a guy with a PhD who thinks the Earth is flat, right?
Yeah, PhD with what?
In physics.
No, there's no way.
I think his name is
No.
Benson.
Benson. Thanks
Yeah,
for
I
that, mate.
can I can get his name if you want, but I don't remember his name.
All right. No, you. Wait, what's this link as well?
It's how you can join if you're watching from YouTube.
All right, fair enough. No, wait. So you're telling me that satellites don't exist?
Of course not.
Why don't you think satellites exist?
Have you ever seen one?
Well, I've seen when they're launched up into space.
You've seen rockets. Rockets exist.
Yeah. What about the ISS?
The ISS is on a balloon, dude.
But it's not on a balloon.
What do you mean? How do you think it moves?
I don't know how it moves. I know like.
What,
No,
you
you
think
got,
it's
like,
just
big.
flying over the Earth in space?
Yeah, I do.
And you don't sound and I bet you probably think that the Earth is moving at 66,600 miles per hour around the sun too, huh?
If that's the number that everyone says it is, and probably yeah.
What a coincidence. 66,600 miles per hour? That's the number of the beast, bro. It's the Freemasons. They're trying to get you.
Well, what about night and day? Like,
The
I know
sun
that's
gets
two
too
different
far
things.
away at
Like,
night.
hmm?
The sun just gets too far away at night.
No, but surely if the Earth was flat and the sun was going around like the outside of it or whatever you guys think it does,
No, it just
then
goes over it.
surely you'd still be able to see it.
Why? It's too far away, dude.
No, I don't know. You can't see it at all.
Yeah, it's because it's too far away. It goes beyond your field of vision.
Yeah, because it's going over the horizon. It's going like it's gone over the
All
curvature
right.
of the Earth.
Let me ask you this. Do you think the horizon is a physical location or an optical location?
I'm assuming it's an optical location.
Okay,
Not
so
even
then
a
what's blocking your
location.
view on a globe?
The curvature of the Earth.
Oh, so it's a physical thing, not an optical thing? Get
Yeah,
your
but
story straight. It's like
you
I know your
can't
model
be,
better than you do.
you can't be at the curve because there'll just be another curve.
Oh, okay, so it's a physical thing, not an optical thing then? Is that right?
Don't really know what that means, but I
Well,
assume
look,
so.
it's either optical because it's just something that's happening to light in your eyeballs, or it's
Oh yeah,
physical and
right,
there's
fair enough.
actually curvature blocking it. Which one is it?
Yeah, physical then.
Oh, okay, if it's physical, so then why can you see further than the physical horizon?
What? Your butt. I don't understand like all this. Uh, what would it be? Flathead? Are you a flathead? Is that the word
No,
I'd
I'm a
use?
truther, dude.
A true. No, no. There's no way you actually believe the Earth is flat. There's no chance.
Get with the program, dude. They're gonna release this year. You're gonna feel so foolish.
Now, what program?
It's a turn of phrase.
All right. Well, nah. I'm sure there's something in the Bible as well. I've not even read it cover to cover.
Yeah, you
Planning
know, in
to, but I'm
Job, it
sure if
says
it's
that the
something in
earth
the
is flat.
Bible, it does not say the Earth is flat.
Absolutely does. Want me to tell you the verse? I don't even believe in the Bible, but even in your own Bible, it says the earth is flat.
All right, go on. Give me a verse.
Yeah, okay. It's Job 38:5. You know what Job 38:5 says?
Job.
Sorry, it might not be Job 38:5. I got that wrong. Let me get the right one. I have to pull up all of my notes for all of you crazy nutty nut jobs because you always just say nonsense stuff. Job 38:4-6. Sorry. So I was right. So Job 38:4. Where wast thou when I laid the foundations of the earth? Declare if thou hast understanding, who hath laid the measures thereof, if thou knowest? Or who hath stretched the line upon it? Whereupon are the foundations thereof fastened? Or who laid the cornerstone up thereof? You know what else has a cornerstone? A foundation.
What? All right. Yeah, but it doesn't say the Earth is flat.
Job 38:14. It is turned as clay to the steel. It is turned as clay to the seal, and they stand as a garment. You know what shape clay to the seal is? It's flat.
Nah. Wait, so if the Earth is flat, then how come the moon and the sun and all the other planets that you can see in the telescopes and all that, why they're all round?
You think that those things are physical objects?
Yeah.
Can you prove that?
No, but you gotta go off word of mouth, you know? I mean, I can
Why
see
would
the
I ever
sun
go
right
off
now.
word of mouth?
I can see the sun right now. It ain't a disc.
Oh, wait. What does it look like? I'm sorry. I've seen the sun before, too. It looks like a disc to me.
Nah, don't. It's a ball.
Oh, how do you know?
Well, because there's the moon as well. Surely, at one point in the year,
The moon is just a
it's
light, dude. It's not even a physical object.
it is a physical. It's not light.
Have you been there? Have you
You can
touched
see
the
it because
moon?
like the sun. The
Why
sun
does the
has the
moonlight
light
give off
reflecting
cold
off.
light?
No, because it's reflecting the sun's light in it.
If it was reflecting the sun's light, it would be the same kind of light. It would be warm. The sun's light is warm. Why is the moon's light cold?
No, no, no. I'm not. I'm
Typical
not
globehead.
scientifically
Nuh-uh.
smart enough to. Hmm.
Sorry, I
What?
called you a globehead. And I called you nuh-uh.
You called me nutter.
Sorry, I said that you were saying nuh-uh.
Okay. No, this has got to be rage bait. I can't actually believe you think. Wait, let me look at your profile. PhD in mathematical physics.
I don't need any of these freaking shills. All right, let's bring up a special guest.
Hello. As the real-life human brother of Dr. Blitz, I have authentic human eyes that are able to perceive the true flat shape of our world. Sharing information like the fact that NASA is lying about the shape of the Earth is important to support. You can ensure that this information continues to spread by subscribing, sending gifts or super chats, using Cash App and/or other options like Buy Me a Coffee found in the link tree in his bio. Or if you have already used all your resources fighting against this great deception, you can show your support by liking the live, sharing it with others, and leaving comments. To meet with like-minded truth seekers, use the link on the link tree in his bio to join his Discord channel. There you can discuss things like topics for new videos and how to best prevent brainwashing. At any moment, NASA may try to silence this channel. That's why it's important to do what you can to support the channel and fight against those who would censor the truth. Have a great day and keep telling the truth about the true nature of reality.
Sorry, y'all. The Freemasons got to my AI. Alright, let's bring up another globehead shill. We'll convince him, even if it's one at a time. Alright, let's talk to Sweet Pete.
Yo.
Sweet Pete, you think the Earth is a globe?
I do, yes, sir.
You realize you're being lied to?
I don't. Why do you think the Earth is flat? What is your...
The ancients have all known the Earth is flat for thousands of years. What, you think we're smarter than them?
I do, yes, sir.
Oh, okay, so then how do you build the pyramids?
With a lot of stone, hundreds of generations.
Yeah, obviously. How did they bring the stone?
People.
They didn't even have the wheel back then.
Brother, you don't understand. Back then, it was a generational project. This took thousands and thousands of people, thousands of generations. It wasn't like a couple people got in a demolition crew and just came and built the pyramids in a couple of years. It was like hundreds of people, hundreds of thousands of people.
How did they lift the stones up so high?
With basic block and tackle.
They didn't have the wheel back then, bro.
They figured it out, brother. This has been solved. Like, I'm not a pyramid guy. I'm here to debate the Earth being flat.
I mean, I'm just showing you how clear it is that the ancients knew so much more than us.
They didn't. Let's talk about common today's day and age, though. How about that?
Yeah, okay. Have you ever been to space?
No, but here's my best argument. Ready?
All right.
I'm about to hit you with the best argument.
All right, let's hear it. You'll be the first globehead to ever give a good argument.
All right, here it is. Ready? Are you familiar with the company of Red Bull?
Yeah.
Good. Red Bull did the world's tallest skydive. You know how high they skydived from?
Yeah, like 100,000 feet.
125,000. This dude Felix went up there in a balloon, bro. Just up there in the clouds, jumped. Bro, Red Bull got this. It's not like this was the government or NASA or anybody.
Yeah,
this
Felix Baumgartner, right? He wasn't even in space.
You can see the
You know, he was using a fisheye lens, right?
You can see Red Bull has non-fisheye lens too. You can see it. It's
not in the original video that they posted. It's a fisheye lens, dude.
You can look at it without the fisheye lens, brother.
Where's the footage? Where's the non-fisheye lens footage?
You can look it up.
It doesn't exist, bro.
Look it up.
I've looked into this.
Oh yeah, I bet you have. I bet you have.
Why do you think I knew his last name, Felix Baumgartner?
Because you were typing. You looked it up.
This is what typing sounds like.
Yeah, you're doing that a minute ago, big dog. All right.
Okay, let's look it up. I'll prove you wrong right now.
Look it up.
We'll do it right now. We'll do it live.
Do it. Let's see it, brother.
All right, I'm gonna look up Red Bull, Felix Baumgartner.
Yep, and then look up without fisheye lens. Let's see if I'm right. I'll eat my
without fisheye lens.
All right. Yeah.
Oh, here's a great video. Wait, do you just want the official one from Red Bull, or?
Sure.
Okay, let's pull it up.
We should all show the Earth's curve from that height. It's way
Yeah,
above
let's pull it up.
We're above where commercial airplanes fly, so.
Let me see if I can get this pulled up.
Red Bull has footage showing the curvature of the Earth. It's not like the government's protecting it or anything. Other companies have plenty of footage of the curvature of the Earth.
If you think this, you're about to be so embarrassed.
I might be,
Oh,
brother.
sorry, that's the wrong window. One sec. Here we go. That's the right window. That's a fisheye lens, bro.
You think it's a fisheye lens?
You think that you could see that much, even if the Earth was curved, from
Yeah, that's
125,000 feet, you wouldn't be able to see that much curvature, dude.
Brother, the Earth's curved. Look at it.
You know how
You
we
can
know
see
it's a fisheye lens? Because it distorts during the jump. What's that? Oh, see how it's distorting? See how it's distorting?
Yeah, it's
Watch
the
it distort.
curvature.
Why is it distorting so much? Oh, what was that? What was that? Is it flat now? I'm sorry, is it flat now?
Fair enough, brother. You're
Is
right.
it flat, bro?
I'll eat my words, brother. You're right. The Earth is flat.
Alright, get wrecked. Another globe head down.
You're the man, bro. Blitz, you're the man.
Get cooked. Scrambled like an omelet.
Hey, how you doing?
Alright, Luke, how's it going? You a globe head?
I believe that the Earth is actually bigger than they say. So, how would you approach that one?
Ah, you're close to truth, brother. You know how big it is? It's infinitely big.
Yeah, yeah. I actually, there is a couple ways to measure apparently. Stick method, and I think it's like a radios thin. I can't pronounce it, but it something method. The Aradiothinus method. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. But there's
Yeah,
a
you
couple
can't
ways
measure the
to.
shape of the Earth with radio, dude.
Okay, so I don't know what exactly that word it says, but it says to measure the angle of the sun's shadow at two different locations at the same time, and
You
use
think that you can
geometry to
figure out
calculate
the
the Earth's
shape of the Earth
circumference.
by looking in the sky?
I'm sure there's some scientific method. I mean, there's a stick method where, the on the spring or autumn equinox, you can measure the length of the stick shadow at solar
What does the
noon
shadow
to
have to do with the
calculate the
shape of
Earth's
the Earth?
size. Typically, I would assume it's because of the way the sun is shining on the Earth and it produces a shadow, which you can then measure. But I'm not 100% sure because I am not, like you went to school, college, or whatever. Uh, but overall, I think the Earth is just larger than they say.
You're so close,
Uh,
brother.
tip,
It is larger. It's infinitely large.
what do you mean by that?
It's an infinite plane. Infinite topographical plane. Goes on forever in all directions.
Okay, okay. So are you assuming that if you look up in the sky and you see, like, let's say you look at the Mars, or you see Mars through a telescope, you're saying that that is connected to Earth as well, or are
No,
you
that's
saying
just a
that's
light, dude.
different? Okay, you're saying that's a light.
Yeah, it's a
Okay.
light in the sky.
Well, where's that light come from then?
The sky.
Okay. Then are you saying it's like a projection?
I don't know what it is. Nobody's been up there.
Okay, so you're saying that the satellites are not really in space, you're saying they're in the atmosphere, like up in the upper
Well,
atmosphere.
the ISS is on a balloon. I don't know about what other
The
satellites
IS,
you're talking
okay.
about.
Right, right. I am aware that it's April Fool's, but I'm I
I don't
think
need
this
no
is very
shills here. Get
interesting.
out of here. Devin, how's it going?
Not bad. How are you?
I'm doing okay. Are you a globe shill?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, how are you going to convince me that the Earth is not flat?
Just pretty quick. Just over the horizon,
Sorry, are you driving?
and now you can sort of have it in the book.
Are you driving?
Yes, sir.
I may be a flat earther, but I still care about people's safety.
How's it going?
Hey, for some reason I can't see you. Ah, there
Oh.
you are. All right. Chat, can you guys hear him?
It working?
Okay, they can hear. They can hear you. Can't see you, but they can hear you. Right? Are you a globe show?
Yeah, I can't see your. Yes, the globe. The globe is the globe. That's why it's called the globe.
I'm sure. I'm sure. Yeah. Did you know that the globe was first put forward by the Austro-Hungarian Empire in 1589?
I did not, but that just goes to show how long we've known that it's a globe. But
You know who was running the
was it
Austro-Hungarian
proven
Empire?
by Eratosthenes?
Eratosthenes was a shill scientist who thought the Earth was a globe, and nobody believed him because he was obviously wrong.
Who was he shilling to in ancient Egypt?
His own school? He was teaching. You know that, right? He was trying to get people to join his school.
So you think it was like a pyramid scheme?
Well, no, it was a globe scheme, but yeah.
Like a globular pyramid scheme?
No. Just a globe.
That's interesting. So wait, what's up with the Austro-Hungarian Empire?
They were run by the Freemasons, dude. They were trying to indoctrinate people so then they could keep all the extra land for themselves.
Which land did the Freemasons get from this
all the land beyond the ice wall.
Beyond the ice wall, which is Antarctica.
Oh, that's one name for it.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Why did the sun rise in the southeast when the final experimenters were in Punta Arenas in Chile?
You think that they were actually there?
Yeah, of course they were there. They live streamed the whole thing. They GPS.
You know that NASA funded that, right?
NASA funded that?
Yeah, you think that just some random guy had hundreds of thousands of dollars to give for like some random flat earthers to go to Antarctica?
Well, you say you don't believe in the
Jeranism has been a plant for a decade.
Right. So still, even if that was the case, they posted videos of the sun rising in Punta Arenas.
You know those were filmed. Those were filmed 6 months prior, right?
6 months prior.
Yeah, in the
why
north,
would it? Why
in
did
Antarctica.
it have to be 6 months?
Sorry, in the Arctic. Because they filmed it in filmed it on the summer solstice in the Arctic.
So what place on Earth looks like Punta Arenas, Chile, that's in the northern hemisphere? And why is it called the northern hemisphere?
It's it's the northern hemisplane, by the way. And there are lots of places. It's not clear where they actually filmed it though, but it could have been the northern tip of Norway.
The northern tip of Norway.
Could have been.
The Norway.
That's why it's called Norway.
So how if this is a flat plane, how did the tides work?
Who knows?
Who knows?
There's a lot of things we don't understand.
The globe knows. They know that through gravity.
Oh, you think gravity's real?
My wife is calling, so I may have to go in a minute. But
that's okay.
Yeah, gravity is a force. It pulls this.
Have you ever seen Gravity?
It's a globe. I gotta go, but you've been cooked.
Nah, I think you got cooked, bud. Zayden, how's it going?
Hey, pretty good. You?
I'm doing all right. You think the Earth is a globe?
I sure do. Before I engage, can I just ask: is this an April Fool's, or you're expressing genuine?
Do I look like I'm having fun?
That's a fair question. Okay. Awesome. Yeah, no, I do believe it's a globe. My main premise, I guess, would be asked: How do you explain things like setting over the horizon, such as like when ships go out to sea, the light experiment that's been conducted several times over great distances, where you shine a light through a hole, perceive that object through like a lens at a distance?
Yeah,
How do you
so
explain that?
there's a few different factors. There's atmospheric extinction that causes light to no longer be visible. There's perspective, of course. Things get too small so you can't see them. They go beyond the Rayleigh criterion of the human eye aperture. And then standard perspective of things getting lower down the field of view as they get further away. All those together, you end up with things that appear to disappear over the horizon.
So, really, okay. Are you familiar with the experiment? I really wish I could remember the name of it. Essentially, we're a bunch of folks that share the flat Earth theory, set out to prove flat Earth, and instead they set up this exact experiment.
Oh, you're talking about the Netflix documentary?
That's one of them. This one happened a few times. Yeah, that's one example.
They were paid, you know.
Sure. So your fundamentals for beliefs are any money exchanged hands, no one can draw a conclusion.
I mean, it should make you skeptical.
Yeah, you always got to wonder where the money came from. But
yeah, it came from Netflix. Do you think Netflix is on the globe side?
I don't understand what Netflix would gain by having an ulterior motive.
They get to make fun of flat earthers, which is like been the people's pastime for over a century.
How okay. So your belief then is light essentially refracts or stops or bends if it goes over a great enough distance, if I'm understanding.
Yeah, and it does.
Interesting. I've never heard that one. Okay. Radio waves, or not radio, but satellite signals. How do those work?
I don't think satellites are in space.
How would a satellite receiver work on the ground then?
Cell towers.
So the whole point of the dish is to focus the waves.
From cell towers.
Why wouldn't you point them at a cell tower then?
You know they're bouncing off of the firmament down to a cell tower, right? That's the whole point. If you have obstructed vision. Sorry?
I heard earlier you don't believe in the Christian faith, right? Did I hear that correctly?
Yeah, no, I'm not a Christian. That was just sold to us by the Freemasons.
Okay. So what's the principle for the firmament existing then?
It's where the lights are.
How are these lights powered?
Nobody's been up there. Who can say?
So, nuclear fission, which we use here on Earth to generate power, and nuclear fusion, which is showing promising examples of use, practical examples. You don't believe in those at all?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, all of this science about the nucleus of an atom, nobody's ever seen a nucleus. As far as I'm concerned, they found some rocks that glow hot.
Amazing. Okay, I don't know how to debate against a straw man stance, because that's what you're doing, is you're just telling no.
Well, look, I mean, do you have any evidence of your own, or do you just believe what people tell you to believe?
I turn on the lights and power is generated. Electricity is used.
Coal is real. Gasoline is real. Sure. Even glowing rocks that are radioactive are real.
So, I would have to say that I think the folks who are descendant in Japanese territories would agree that nuclear fission is real.
I mean, that's what they say.
You deny that we bombed Japan?
Of course, the United States bombed Japan, but who knows what the bomb was made out of? How do you know that it was nuclear? How could the Japanese people have known that it was nuclear?
Same with Chernobyl, the meltdown there.
You think that wasn't a planned explosion?
I love it. I love the day it is. I love how genuine you are, whether or not you're punking or not, dude. I love it.
Try to chill harder. Yeah, obviously the detonation in Chernobyl was planned so that they could irradiate parts of the exterior of the Soviet Republic, so that nobody could live there because there's important underground resources there that the Russians are just biding their time for. Obviously.
Hello.
Hi Sam. How's it going?
Good. I love you. I know this is a gag. I just have to ask.
Nah, we don't deal with shills. Opposition only, globe heads only. How's it going? It's almost like they think that just because it's a special day just means that people can't be genuine with their beliefs. Come on. Don't just dismiss my beliefs because you think it's a joke. This is serious business. It's the most important question in the universe. Mosky, how's it going? You a globehead?
No, I'm a truther. And
Oh,
I do
hell
my
yeah,
own
brother.
research. But I did have some questions because I'm trying to figure out, in the timeline, if it was, when we're thinking about them and how they misled us. It started with the Anunnaki, and then they transferred their knowledge to the Tartarians, and then what happened?
The
there,
Tartarians founded the
Freemasons
the Austro-Hungarian Empire. You know that, right?
So how did it transfer over to the Freemasons? Like, who's in control now?
Well, so I don't know, but I think from what I've read and from the videos that I've seen, the Austro-Hungarians were Freemasons. And after World War I, when the Austro-Hungarian Empire dissolved, the Freemasons retained control over Central Europe and expanded their powers. I think that they must have built a base in Antarctica after that, because that's where, the famous Germans went after World War II.
Okay. There is a dude who I think wrote something about that, and he did like a documentary. I think it was on the History Channel called Ancient Aliens. I don't know if you've seen that one.
I try not to watch mainstream media.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. Take care, brother. Good luck in seeking truth.
Yo, Dr. Blitz.
How's it going?
How's it going? So, do you believe in the Coriolis effect?
No.
Or whatever you said?
It's not caused by
Really?
the Earth rotating. Tell you that much.
Wow. Oh, wow. All right. Well, April Fool's to you too. Have a good day.
It's almost like people can't take you seriously if it happens to be on a particular day. Bunch of shills. How would you feel if your genuine beliefs were being called a joke? King's
What's going
Cub.
on, man?
How's it going, brother?
What's going on, bro? What's going on? So yeah, I'm a Christian, and I actually believe in the globe. And I
You know
find
your
that
own
kind of-
Bible says it's flat, right?
Oh, that's actually incorrect. A lot of Christians twist the Bible to make it sound like that, but it's actually very incorrect.
Oh, okay,
The
so what
Bible
about
calls
the
Earth a circle.
what
The
about
Hebrew
the
word,
what about the verse in
sorry?
Job where it says that the earth is shaped like the seal, like the clay under a seal?
Yeah, if you actually read that in context, if you read that verse in context, it says that the land, the earth is formed like a clay to the seal,
Yeah.
And
What shape is the
and God
clay
says,
under
"Where
the seal?
proud-" Let me finish. Let me finish the context. God says, the context is separating the ocean from the land, and God says, "Where the proud waves are stayed." So the same way a clay seal has raised edges, the
Yeah, the
land
Earth has
has
raised
raised
edges.
edges.
Yeah, you got it. That's
Exactly,
what the ice
the
wall is,
land has
bro.
raised edges where the waves, where the waves of the ocean stop.
Bro, that's where the ice wall
You
is.
get what I'm saying?
That's what's keeping the water in.
No, it's not referring to the ice wall. It's just referring to the land sitting higher than the ocean. That the land has raised edges.
But
the ocean.
a globe doesn't have edges, dude.
No, again, you.
Why would they talk about the
that
raised
verse,
edges if there's no edges on a
talking
globe?
about the land.
It's talking about the ice wall. How could
Talking
it
about
could
the
be? Look,
continents, the land.
the map behind me looks like a seal under clay, or sorry, the clay under a seal.
No, it doesn't.
It does. You've seen?
No.
Have you seen the clay under a seal?
God also describes the sun as rising and falling, which you can observe. With
Yeah,
yourself.
it goes higher in the sky
Now,
and lower in the sky.
So if your theory of flat Earth was correct, that the sun was just circling overhead, why does the sun remain the same size the entire time, all the way, and even when it's moving, when it's falling, it's still the same size, but it's just getting cut off by the horizon.
I don't know if you've ever seen a sunset, dude, but obviously the sun gets smaller at sunset.
It doesn't get smaller. It remains the same exact size.
Have you measured it?
The sun remains the same. The ball. If you
Have you
look
measured
at that
it?
ball in the sky,
Because I've measured
if
it.
you look at the ball in the sky, it stays the same size the whole day.
I've measured it, Broseph. Have you measured it?
Same with the moon.
Have you measured it? Because I've measured it.
Is the moon flat or a ball?
The moon's a light, dude. It's not even a solid
The
object.
moon's a light, but yet you can look at the way light bounces off of it, and common sense will tell you that it's a sphere.
What do you mean light bounces off of it?
The way light refracts off of it, it's a sphere.
It's emitting its own light,
The way
dude.
it makes its crescent, you can't tell that it's a sphere the way light is refracting off of it.
If it was a sphere, why isn't it darker around the edges?
Dude, it's dark in the
Why?
sections that the
Look,
sun's
if you've
not
ever,
hitting.
if
What
it
are
was,
you talking about?
if it was true that the moon was just bouncing light from the sun, then just like a basketball that you hold a light up to, the light will be darker around the edges, but the moon is uniformly lit up.
It's not uniformly lit up. How are you?
Oh,
how are you
so have
drawing
you
that
never seen a
conclusion,
full
my guy?
moon? The full moon is
How
the
are you
full
drawing
disc. It's the whole thing.
the
It's not
full
like
moon
darker
is when
around
the
the
sun's
edges.
hitting it straight on. The full moon's when the sun's hitting it straight on.
Yeah, now go take a
The
basketball.
rest of
Go
the
take a
time-
basketball and hold
the
up a
rest of the
flashlight to it,
time
and
you
it'll
see
be
the
darker around the
crescent.
edges. It'll be bright in the middle and dark
My
around the
dude,
edges.
the rest of the time you see the crescent. That's only possible.
I'm talking
in a
about the
sphere.
full moon. Dude's having a hard time understanding, bro. Look, so if you take a basketball and you shine a flashlight on it, the part that's directly in line with the flashlight will be brightest, and it'll get darker in a ring outwards from the center. Why doesn't the moon look like that if it's getting light from the sun?
Because it's in space, dude. The other
Because
side
it's
of
in
it is
space,
completely
dude.
dark.
Why would that?
Yeah, because the
Why
other
aren't
side
the
of it is
edges
completely
darker
dark.
than the middle?
The way the crescent is bending around the moon clearly.
I'm
tells
not
you it's a
talking
ball.
about crescents.
Any child,
Listen.
my guy, any child with common sense can tell you that.
Oh, nice add-on.
Any child, bro.
That's
The way
that's just
the way
incredulity,
the-
bro.
the-
Actually,
the
use
light
your
is
brain.
bending around. The way the light is bending around.
Oh, so now the light bends?
ball,
You're sounding like a flat
it's
earther,
a
dude.
ball. And then you want to talk about the Egyptians and then the Anunnaki and all these things that you're speculating. You don't even know who the Masons are. You don't know. You don't.
The
know what
the
they were
Masons
doing in
are
Babylon.
Christians.
Hey, listen. You don't know what they were doing in Babylon. The fact of the matter is, God Himself even said.
Haven't you read the
that
Haven't
when
you read the
mankind
Emerald
was
Tablets?
united,
Have you not heard of
when
the Emerald Tablets of Thoth?
when they were building the tower, when these Masons,
You think
as
the
call them,
tower was a real place?
when the tower was them trying to get into the other dimension, okay, as they're
Dimensions.
trying to do
This
today.
guy believes in space and other dimensions. Next thing you're gonna tell me is that
There
you
is
believe in
other
aliens.
There is other dimensions. No, they're angels. They're not angels. They're not aliens. They're angels. The God that you deny is the ultimate truth, and you claim to be a truther. but yet
Yeah, I am a
he
truther,
is
and
that
obviously
rock.
I've seen the evidence against this nonsense stuff. Read the Emerald Tablets of Thoth. It'll enlighten you. It'll bring you closer to truth, brother.
No, you don't know truth, dude. You don't know the truth.
In
You
your
don't
own
know
Bible,
who
it says
Masons
that the
worship.
earth is flat.
You don't know who the Masons worship. You don't know who helped the Egyptians.
The Masons
You don't
worship
know who
the
helped them.
worship the Christian
You
Satan,
think,
don't they?
You think man did that? You think man built those pyramids?
No, I think it was
You
giants.
think okay, and who told you about those giants?
Well, they found the bones of giants.
Who told you about the giants before anybody? Who told you?
The
Was it
archaeologists who found the bones, and then they were silenced.
Was it the Torah? Was it the Torah and the writings
No,
of Moses?
no, it was the bones. I don't listen to.
Yes.
I'm
Who
sorry. I don't
drowned?
believe fantasy books. I'm a scientist.
Who drowned the? It's not fantasy. You just said yourself that you know the giants were on Earth. Who drowned the giants?
Yeah, the rest of the
Who
book
drowned
is.
them?
The
Who
giants weren't
drowned the
drowned, dude. They were in the desert.
Who drowned them? Who drowned
They didn't
them? Who
drown. They were in the
eliminated them?
desert.
Who wiped them off of the face of the planet? And then who finished them off? It was David and his armies. It was David and his armies.
Bro, they were in Egypt.
It was even the biblical scriptures that confirmed that even some of the giants had 6 fingers and 6 toes. These things.
Man,
are
you've
even
gone so
confirmed.
far against your own God, you can't even believe what your own Bible says.
These things are
Bro.
even confirmed. In
Bro's
archaeology.
crashing
No,
out
God-
because he can't
God-
accept that the Christian Bible says the earth is flat, which is what we have
God-
all known for
God-
thousands of
you know
years.
You know that God in the Christian Bible, tells these Freemasons, he tells these satanic people, he tells them.
Bro,
even
the
if
Bible
you
doesn't
build-
talk about Freemasons.
Yeah, he does. Oh, yeah, he does.
Oh, name a verse.
You want me to show you which verse?
Name the verse, yeah.
The stone which the builders rejected has become the head of the corner. Who do
You think that
Freemasons
builders refers to
put the head of the
Freemasons? You know that there are people who build stone things, right?
What stone do Freemasons put at the head of the corner? Who is the eye symbolic of?
The eye is
Satan.
symbolic of Anuni.
It's symbolic of Satan.
No, it's
Satan.
Anuni.
I
What?
just gave you the verse. Jesus called them out. The stone.
Wait,
which
so
the
hold on. We
builders
agreed. So hold on.
rejected- Hear me
Maybe
out,
we
let
can
me
find some
speak.
common
Would
ground.
you let me finish my point?
Can we
Would you
find
let
some
me
common
finish my
ground?
point? The stone which the builders rejected. What are stone builders?
Stone builders
are
are
stone
stone
builders?
masons.
What are stone builders? They're masons.
They're stone
Precisely.
masons.
They
Not
are
Freemasons.
masons.
Freemasons are a different kind of thing,
So
bro.
what are the pyramids? So what are the pyramids? Are they not built by stone?
Yeah, they were built by giants.
Masons. Masons.
They were built by. Wait,
Masons,
you think that
precisely.
masons could lift the stones up that high?
The Masons were devil worshippers, and the devils and the giants.
Look,
helped
maybe
them.
we can find some common
You're not
ground here.
putting-
We both
you
agree
can't
that
put one and
Freemasons
one
are evil,
together.
right?
You can't put one and one together.
Wait, do we both
I
agree that
just
the
said,
Freemasons
I
are
just
evil?
told you they worship the devil. I just told
Okay,
you
so
they
we
worship
agree.
the
So,
devil.
if the Freemasons have been telling us that the Earth is a globe for hundreds of years, why would you believe them?
because there's things that they can't even them they can't hide. There's things that even they
So even under your
cannot
own
conceal.
worldview, Satan worshippers can't lie to you.
No, they can't. There's things that they are unable to conceal. They are not almighty. That's what you don't understand. They're
They
not
controlled the
almighty.
Austro-Hungarian Empire for 500 years, and you think that they can't lie about the shape of the Earth?
They're still not more powerful than God.
Okay,
Now-
well,
now let me-
look, so
do you-
if
do
you
you-
want your God to
do
come
you
down and tell you
deny-
that the Earth is a globe, by all means, but until somebody actually gives me evidence and actually does real science to determine the shape of the Earth, I'm gonna stick with what my eyes can see. Thanks, no thanks. All right, let's bring up a guest from TikTok, or from YouTube, rather. Montana, can you hear me all right?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. Do you think that the Earth is a globe?
Yes, I do. And
All right,
I just
why?
want to start out. Sorry if my English isn't perfect. It's not my first language, so I slip up sometimes.
I would have never guessed you sound Canadian.
Oh, really? Cool. I live in America, so I just want to start out. I live in a place in America called North Carolina. That place is Waxhaw. You can look into it. It's heavy into the Freemasons.
Wait, they like the Freemasons there?
No, they just had some rich history. I don't know. I try not to get with the people here. I don't like North Carolina, but that's a whole different story. I just want to start out. You said that gravity isn't real, right? What
Yeah, it's better
led
explained by
you to-
density and buoyancy and electrostatics as the driving force.
you originally said that it wasn't real because you can't see. But
Yeah.
that's the same as saying, okay, air isn't real. The air around us, oxygen isn't real. If you wave your hand, it's there. You can feel it.
Yeah, we can measure
If
air.
something has mass, it has gravity. That's definition. That's facts. As a physicist, you should understand facts.
Wait, you're saying that
Not
if
only
something has
that,
mass, it has gravity. How can you prove that?
how can you prove that? Look at objects in space.
Again, you're gonna have to prove
If
that
something
space is
falls,
real
it
first.
comes down. Nothing falls straight down to the Earth. It curves. Why? Because there's curvature to the Earth and gravity.
Wait a minute. Wait, what are you saying? Falls straight down to the Earth and then curves? If I drop a pen, it falls
If
straight
there
down.
is a satellite, if we shoot a satellite out of the sky, which has been done many times, by the way.
Oh, at least that's what they tell you.
Any case, pick a case. There's plenty of footage from any angle.
Yeah,
all the same.
you will see plenty
will
of footage of
see
people launching
the-
things with rockets. How many of them will you see actually get to space?
Okay, and when it comes straight down, it curves. Why? Because there's curvature.
No, because they're trying to hide the rocket.
Oh, well, for
They're
what
trying to
purpose
shoot it
do you
into
believe?
the ocean so that people can't find that it didn't actually go to space.
Well, 99% of rockets don't go to space. Anyone with a brain knows that.
Oh, where do they go then?
Straight back down. You said
Why?
it yourself just now. Because they fail. Catastrophic.
Wait, you think
failures.
99% of
Engine
rockets
failures.
fail?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay. I mean, like, as long yeah,
fail-
I agree. They
when
fail
I
to
say
get to
fail,
space because they're not.
fail,
Because space isn't
yes.
real.
Okay. So if you say space isn't real, then the moon isn't real.
The
How
moon
is
is
the
a
moon
light in
there?
the sky.
The moon is a light in the sky. So then how is it dark in some cases, doesn't light in the others? How is it dimly lit?
It's sometimes
How is it
is
never
dark
the
and is
same?
sometimes light. Yeah. Great, you got it. You described it perfectly. It's sometimes dark and sometimes light.
Okay. And what does that?
Who knows? Nobody's been there. We
You
have to
don't
do
think we've
science to
been-
figure it out.
Okay. I don't believe, personally, this is my belief. I'm with you on the fact that everything they've released to us is fake. 100%. That's no doubt. But I do believe we've been there.
Why do you believe we've been there if the only people telling you
Because
that
there's-
are NASA?
Because, oh, it's not just NASA. It's a lot. But the reason is because there's people like us, and let's be honest, I've seen quite people who have fought for this, people who believe in what I believe, because it is a belief. And what I believe, they sound stupid as shit. Straight up. I'll call them out. What do you used to call them? Shills or whatever? I find that hilarious. But these people aren't ready for that kind of knowledge. They just aren't. Aliens, they wouldn't be ready for that type of stuff. They
Wait, you
could
think
be here,
aliens
they
are
could
real?
not.
Wait, you think aliens are real?
A possibility, nowhere near us. Nowhere near.
Man, you're so lost.
It's two beliefs, is what I'll leave it at. I come in here with an open mind. I can be swayed. So if there's something, if you want to bring out your strongest argument to sway
Yeah,
me
okay.
to your
Okay,
side,
how about this? How about this?
I will listen.
Yeah, so why is it that we can see too far?
That we can't see too far?
We can. Yeah, if the Earth was a globe, you shouldn't be able to see the Chicago City skyline from across Lake Michigan.
I've been. I can't.
I have
I'm
photos
also blind as
saying
shit, too.
otherwise.
Okay, let's say you go to Mount Everest. Plenty of Polaroid photos posted.
Yeah.
You can see curvature of the Earth. Explain.
Oh, you think that you can see curvature of the Earth from Mount Everest? Do you think that's high enough? Even Neil deGrasse Tyson says you can't see it from that high.
Think of the atmosphere, the clouds.
The
There's
atmosphere,
clouds.
by the way.
Correct. You can see curvature.
You can? The news to me, it
Yes.
looks awfully flat.
What news? Let's I'm curious the sources.
I was saying news to me, it's a turn of phrase.
My bad. Retard mom. Sorry. Okay. So what facts with source is my big thing. That's my big thing is source.
Yeah, my own experiments
you-
and observations.
Okay, what experiments have you yourself done? I'm curious.
I've gone on top of mountains and taken photos, and I'm looking at things that are too far. I shouldn't be able to see them.
Okay. We'll leave it at that. Great discussion.
All right, take care, Montana. Good luck
You
seeking
too.
truth.
Have a good one. You too.
Yeah, they just need to get a P900 or a P1000. Easily proves that the Earth is flat. Alright, let's bring up the next shill.
Hey, how's
F-Bread,
it going?
how's it going?
It's going. Let's get to the bottom of this.
Yeah, so you think the Earth is a globe?
Yeah, and we can prove that without relying on stuff the nerd scientists at NASA say. You can prove that yourself.
Oh, yeah? Tell me.
Yep. So, all you need to do is construct a pendulum. And here's the important part. You use a ball bearing so it can rotate in any direction. Do you follow?
Yeah, pendulum, ball bearing. Where's the ball bearing?
Where the pendulum swings from.
Okay,
So
sure,
it
I
can
follow.
essentially swing any direction. Do you follow?
Sure.
I then want you to make careful note about the axis that you start swinging the pendulum from.
Sure.
Right? So it should only go back and forth, even though it's on a ball bearing.
Yep.
Do you follow?
Well, no, that wouldn't happen because the ether is dragging it.
What way does the ether drag it?
From west to east. If you're in the northern part of the hemiplane.
Does the ether drag get increasingly strong as you approach one of the poles?
Yeah, it's a toroidal field.
What what do you mean the ether is dragging it? Hold on.
Yeah, so the ether is that which light passes through, and because everything can be interacting with light, of course the ether is going to affect everything, and because it's rotating at different differential rates, going from the equator up to the North Pole and from the equator down to the southern ring, of course it's going to drag things differently depending on where you are.
Don't you find it odd that it's going to drag things exactly proportional to what the so-called globe heads call
How do you think they
latitude?
reverse engineered the globe from the true Earth?
Well, lines of latitude aren't like engineered; they're equally spaced arbitrarily.
The point is that they adjusted their globe radius so that it matches what the ether drag does.
Okay, so the globe model is constructed in such a way that a pendulum on a ball bearing is going to rotate during its swing exactly the same amount as the so-called ether that's dragging it. Is that what
Yeah,
you're saying?
the ether drag is responsible for the Coriolis effect, which is what's responsible for this pendulum rotation that you're referring to.
Okay. Let's move on. That's you're not we're not going to make any headway here. So you don't believe in gravity?
No, of course not. That was debunked by Einstein in 1915.
It wasn't debunked. It was changed.
So is Newton's gravity right or wrong?
It's been improved upon.
Oh, okay, so it sounds like it sounds like Newton was wrong. That Newton didn't discover gravity.
He did discover gravity, but just like
Oh, but he
something
was
like
wrong about it?
evolution, it's been improved upon.
It just sounds like you're saying that Einstein debunked gravity. You're right. He did disprove it. He showed that it's actually an electrostatic field curving in the U1 principal gauge bundle.
Okay, so you think electrostatics are responsible for holding us to the disk?
Yeah, it's a residual electrostatic force.
Residual. So there's no magnet.
There are magnets. Magnets are real.
Okay, where's the magnet that's holding us to the plate?
It's not magnets that are holding us, it's electrostatics. Magnets and electrostatics are different.
So you mean like friction?
What? No, like the same when you rub a balloon on your head and it sticks to your head, that's electrostatics, it's not magnets.
Electrostatics is Coulomb's law. Like it is magnets.
Coulomb's law isn't magnets. You're thinking of the Biot-Savart law.
Okay, so we're held to the earth just like a balloon that is rubbed to my hair is held to my head.
Sort of, except it's a residual van der Waals force from the electrostatics. It can affect anything that has charge, even if it's an interior, even if it's neutrally charged.
All right, we're not getting anywhere. You have a good one.
All right, you should look into your globe model, learn some truth. Damien, welcome.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going all right, just destroying globe heads. You know, the usual.
You know, I feel really bad because you've been talking to a lot of the globe heads that have been misled. I am a globe head, but you know what? You're closer to the truth than they are in a lot of ways.
You're right.
You know how they
I
have
know.
to add all this. They have to add all this dark energy and dark matter to make all the gravity equation work. It's because the Earth is a lot bigger than they say it is.
Yeah, it's infinitely big, bro. You're so close.
No, it's a globe, but you know what? That map.
No, it's infinitely big.
No, it's that map you got on the back there is just one part of this big planet, and it's surrounded by ice wall, and they don't let us out there. But they don't want the truth, but they're trying to silence me because they know that there's more world out there. It's not exact. I don't know. Maybe we can find some common ground there, but
I agree that the Earth is bigger than they think, that there's extra land beyond the ice walls. But bro, I'm looking for some opposition. I'm here to destroy the globe heads, and it doesn't sound like you're a globe head. It sounds like you're on your way to truth, man. So peace, love, and taco grease, bro.
Oh.
All right, let's bring up the next big shill. All right, this person's not connecting. Let's bring up somebody from the YouTube. Max, can you hear me all right? Max, you're on. Can you hear me, Max? I can't hear you. Yeah, your audio's not working, bud. Sorry, go ahead and try. Go ahead and try again. I'm gonna bring on another guest. Pineapple Moon with Omnipotent Gerbil. Oh no, that sounds like a fake troll. All right, let's bring up somebody from TikTok. TikTok is where the real truthers are at. Am I right? Give me a W truther in the chat. Let's go. Flohar, how's it going? Can you hear me all right, Flohar? All right, looks like Flohar's not here either. Looks like all the globe heads are afraid of the truth. Buck Nasty, you here?
Blitz, I'm here. I'm here. This hurts a bit, but I'm gonna give you a question. How do you explain why it's cold at the extremes in the center, and then again at the edge of the flat Earth? That can't make
Because
sense.
obviously the sun is furthest from those places.
How could the sun be furthest from the center and the edges?
Because it goes around near the equator.
So the sun is also a ring?
No, the sun, it travels in a circle above the equator. Well, it actually oscillates up and down between the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn. So during the summer, it's above the Tropic of which one's in the north? The Tropic of Cancer, which is why the summers are warmer, even in the center. But when it's by the Tropic of the Tropic of Capricorn, it's really far away from the central pole, and so it just gets real cold.
Oh, okay. All right. I guess that makes perfect sense. I appreciate your insight.
Yeah, of course, brother. Continue seeking truth. All right, let's bring up the next guest. We have a professional shill himself. Professional shill,
Hey.
Peter. You come to the light.
No, I'm gonna try out my arguments.
All right, shill. Let's hear this.
So where do you think the sun goes at night?
It's obviously stays above the plane, my guy.
Yeah. So where does it go? Why can't we see it at night?
Atmospheric extinction gets too far away.
Okay, so you are a robothemist.
You could say that, but Robotham didn't start it. It was started by the Austro-Hungarians, at least as far back as we can tell, in 1589.
Wait, I thought you said the Austro-Hungarians started the globe model.
Oh, you're right. Sorry, I just got confused. Robotham didn't start it. The people who potentially knew about it but didn't start it, well, they may have started it, who knows. The people who first put it forward were the Austro-Hungarians. That's what they knew in secret. But they pushed the globe model to try to deceive the rest of us.
So you're saying the Austro-Hungarians started both the robothemist model, but I'm
As
calling
far
the
as we can
robothemist
tell,
model
they
and
knew about the robothemist model, as you call it.
Okay. So then you admit that you do not fall in the same category as ancient flat earthers.
They got the shape of the Earth right. They got the behavior of the sun and moon wrong.
Okay, well, I've measured sunset, and you're wrong. They were right. Ancient people understood that the sun goes underneath them.
Wait, where does the sun go? What's underneath? How do they know that the sun goes underneath?
Because they can watch it go down.
But where does it go?
Well, it depends on your model. If you're an ancient flat earther, then you might believe it goes underneath a flat Earth.
But there is no underneath.
If the I mean, it depends on your model. Obviously,
Look, we don't have a model, okay? I just know what my eyes can see.
Yeah, but you don't use them when you're looking at sunset because the sun obviously goes underneath.
I looked at them the other day. I can't believe that a shill like you got the wrong flat Earth model.
What do you mean I got the wrong flat Earth model?
You're flat Earth. It doesn't make sense. How do you explain time zones then, huh?
Because it's a globe. That's why. Sunset plus time zones equals globe.
Sunset plus time zones equals atmospheric extinction, and the sun goes around near the equator.
No, it's not atmospheric extinction. Well, that does certainly play a part. That's why the sun appears to get dimmer, or it appears to get smaller if you're measuring the size according to the size of the glare. But that's not why it disappears.
What, you think that you could see the sun from 20,000 miles away?
Yeah, well, we certainly don't see the sun just fade into the background.
It wouldn't. Our eyes are logarithmic.
What does that mean?
Our eyes don't see light linearly.
It doesn't matter. If
Sure it
something
does.
was to disappear due to extinction, that would mean that it would have to fade into the background.
Not at the rate at which it disappeared was square to exponential, and our eyes see logarithmically. It would appear to suddenly decrease in brightness.
Okay, well, I guess you've stumped me. Good job.
Go learn some atmospheric modeling. It'll help you out.
All right.
Take care, Shill. All right, let's bring up another real globe head. Not one of these fake shills. Let's bring up Flohar again. Yeah, L shills in the comments. And if you guys want to support the truth, make sure to do so. There's a Cash App in the link tree in my bio. There's a Cash App in the description. My voice is getting silenced here. We only have 300 views, and that's because NASA and the Freemasons are silencing me. Flohar, how's it going?
Oh, sorry. I'm doing good. I'm just glad you're fighting the good fight, brother.
Yeah, of course, brother. We have to spread truth every way we can.
Amen. I just wanted these fucking globetards to know about turtles.
I don't care about your turtles, brohead. We gotta fight the good fight here, guys. I think, with 300 people watching, I should really make an app. Really make an app, and so then we can support and get the truth out. Only $6.99. Would you guys buy it? You think? Jesse, how's it going?
How's it going? How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. What shape do you think the Earth is, Globehead?
I kind of think maybe it is round though, but I think it's bigger than they tell us. Because
How
how
big?
they have those old maps. I couldn't fucking tell you that. I don't even know if it's flat or round. So, you know what I'm saying?
Well, look, brother.
There's
If
ice
you don't
wall.
know,
Does it go-
let me educate you, okay? So,
Okay.
if the Earth were a globe, how could it be? If the Earth were a globe that's big, say, why would it be that we're not able to feel ourselves traveling through the air at 66,600 miles an hour?
Wouldn't it be like when you're in a car and the car's fucking hauling ass and you're just sitting there? You
Oh,
don't feel
so
like you're
does the globe have metal around it, keeping the air in?
No, but if it's that huge and it's just that fucking massive and we're sitting on it, maybe we wouldn't even feel that because it's already moving and it's constantly moving.
Have you ever
So
stuck your
everything
hand
else
out a moving car? You feel the
we
wind,
wouldn't
bro.
feel like that if we have the atmosphere and there's like a fucking bubble around the atmosphere that holds everything the fuck in.
It's
How
called
could
the
why would
firmament. You figured it out.
And so it's spinning. It has to be spinning, wouldn't you think? Everything else is
Why would
round.
why should it spin? Can you prove spin?
I mean, that's what they tell us. I don't know.
Oh yeah, have you ever seen it with your own eyes? Do you feel it spinning?
But you wouldn't feel it. It'd be like being in a car.
It spins at 1,000 miles an hour, dude. Have you ever spun
You're
that
in
fast?
The car. In a car, you wouldn't feel 1,000 miles an hour if you're sitting in the
If
car,
I take
bro.
a right turn at 30 miles an hour, I feel it. And you're telling me if I'm spinning at 1,000 miles an hour, I don't?
If you're the same. It's continuing the same speed, right? You wouldn't be doing a fucking turn. We were not just turning. We're spinning. It's spinning.
If
So
you
the
take a
whole
turn at 30 miles an hour, you fly into the window, and yet if you turn at 1,000 miles an hour, like on your supposed globe, suddenly somehow you can't feel it?
Okay, but why are we doing turns anyways? It's just spinning, bro. It's not. We're not. Why would it turn?
What do you
It's
think
just going-
spinning is?
like,
It's just
if you were in a
turning
car-
over and over again.
Look. Think about this. When you're in the car, right? You can't tell how fast you're going, right?
Yeah, I
Can
can.
you tell?
Obviously, look out the window.
If you can't see if you're sitting there, and you're just sitting in the fucking car, you can feel the car moving, of course. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah,
But
you
don't
can
really
always feel it moving.
move. Yeah, but you wouldn't like a dog would. It doesn't know when you're fucking driving and the dog pulls forward or whatever when you stop real hard, right? So the Earth's not doing that. It's just constant, right? If it's constant, we're already
So
on it.
if the
constant.
Earth's not doing that,
No.
if
Why
the
don't you
Earth,
put your
if you can't feel it, then of course it's not spinning.
No way. What if it's that huge? You would like earthquakes. You don't know about. All of a sudden we have earthquakes and shit. Well, what's that about?
Presumably
right?
the under
No, I get
people are
it.
mad at us.
I don't know how it works. I'm just saying, like, you don't feel it till it moves. We wouldn't know that. You wouldn't.
You're
feel
right.
it.
You're
You
right.
wouldn't
We would.
feel it.
We
It would
don't
just
feel it
spin,
until
bro.
it moves, and it's not moving because we don't feel it.
If it was constantly spinning and we didn't know.
How would we
Or
feel it if it was? How would we not feel it if it was spinning the whole time?
Okay, so what is the flat Earth on? What are we doing? There's a top.
There's
There's no
nothing.
bottom.
We have no idea. Nobody's ever dug deeper than 7 miles.
I thought they fucking did that. The pyramid has some columns and shit going. Well,
No,
how
that's
far is
fake
that going?
news.
For real? Are you sure?
Yeah,
They say they're under Angkor Wat and everything. All of them.
it's fake news.
For sure, for sure. I gotta look that up. I have to fact check you on that one. All right, man. Well, I don't know. I just feel like I think it's bigger than what they tell us, for sure.
Yeah, I
don't know
mean,
what
bro, like, the whole globe was back engineered based off of the flat Earth model and based off of perspective and the Rayleigh criterion of our eyeballs. So, I don't think that you can make sense out of a globe that's bigger than 3,900 whatever miles.
All right, man. Well, you win.
Later, Jesse.
All right,
Bro got blitzed. DML, how's it going?
What's up?
You know, just crushing the globe dream like always. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Crushing the
Yeah, are
UA
you a
sexuals.
globehead or are you a truther?
Yeah, I'm a globehead.
Bummer, man. You just believe whatever anybody tells you?
Yeah. I just blind faith, but I got a question for you though.
Sure.
Okay, so what do you think causes things to fall? Electrostatics?
Yeah, it's a what was, sorry, the words on the tip, it's a residual electrostatic force akin to the quantum van der Waals effect.
Okay, so effectively, you will have the ground as negatively charged. Is that what you guys believe?
No, it's not
All
quite
like-
that simple.
Okay, so expound.
So there's a potential difference between the ground and the sky. That's absolutely true. But what's really happening is that you have a see, the electrostatic force is a UN principal gauge bundle, and so the way it curves induces a residual charge, both in things that are uncharged neutrally and things that are still charged. So regardless of what their actual charge is, because everything is composed of things that are charged fundamentally, the residual force will pull them down.
Okay, so don't you think introducing a different level of charged particles into bodies that should change the amount of attraction they have to the ground?
No, it just depends on the amount of stuff that they have. That's why it happens to go with mass, right? Because everything is made of tiny charged things. You know, you might call them atoms. I don't think that atoms are real, but clearly everything's made of tiny charged things, and sometimes they cancel out. But the important point is just the magnitude, the absolute value of the charge, and that's what the residual electrostatic U1 principal gauge bundle field acts on.
So what if the absolute value of the charge is like overwhelmingly negative?
Well, that's
So
fine.
wouldn't that
That's fine. The residual electrostatic force is stronger. It just depends on the amount of particles with this charge, and that amount of particles is proportional to the mass, which is how you get something that looks like it depends on mass, even though it's electrostatic.
Okay, so when you have all of these differentiating of charges, you can still derive the same 9.8 meters per second squared. From
Yeah,
the
it's just
downward
electrostatic
acceleration.
in nature.
Okay, so it's like these charges, they seem to be, you could change them like very constantly. So and,
You
know,
can,
things
and
that
then
you
you'll
could
get the
change.
regular Coulomb law attraction or repulsion that comes from Maxwell's equations. It's the scalar field from the UN principal gauge bundle that causes the residual force, which is what we're talking about, and that's what causes the downward acceleration with the upward gradient of the voltage potential.
Yeah. So the thing is, when you have electromagnetism and you have bodies of mass with charges that can be changed constantly, like how could something that can constantly be changed, you still derive a constant from it, Like
It's the mass
there
that
has to
doesn't change, and the mass is proportional to the intrinsic charge of the individual components that build up the object itself. Let me ask you this.
So the mass-
Why is it that light doesn't fall if everything falls?
Because light needs mass to be attracted by gravity.
Oh, but isn't it according to Einstein that everything, even energy, falls?
Yeah, well.
Does
the
light
thing
have
is,
energy?
If you have, yeah, light does have energy. Yeah.
So why doesn't it fall?
The thing is, light can fall if there is a gravitational well that's big enough to warp.
Oh, you're
space-time.
telling me that the light is
Technically,
falling in my
nothing
living room? Nah, bro.
Yeah, everything, the reason why we have things that fall towards the ground is because its path in space-time is being warped by the Earth's mass.
Wait, you believe in
That's why it
space-time?
falls.
Einstein didn't even believe in space-time.
Einstein did. I mean, the
No,
whole
he
thing
said it
about
was a persistent fiction like time.
The whole thing about general relativity is that Einstein proposed 4 dimensions, with time being the linear, non-spatial dimension.
That was just a mathematical model. You're reifying mathematics here. It's not a real thing. It's just a thing because he couldn't accept the the Klein-Gordon U1 principal gauge bundle theory of gravity, which is truly just, sorry, not Klein-Gordon, Kaluza-Klein theory of gravity, which is actually just electrostatics.
Okay, so if general relativity is all fiction, how comes it's like used today, like with different like satellite navigational systems, they would take into account general relativity?
Satellites aren't real, bro. You've been lied to.
Okay, so it's just like the huge weather balloons.
Well, some of them are on weather balloons, like the ISS, yeah, but yeah, like the weather satellites, nah, they're not real.
Okay, so like, do you believe that like BBC and CNN are like, you know, they work for the government?
In cahoots, yeah, they're obviously it's a psyop. Who do you think assassinated JFK?
Yeah, that's a good one. But okay, so like recently, like I think it was last year, there was an F-22 Raptor that used an A9X Sidewinder to shoot down a Chinese spy balloon, and it was covered all over the news. BBC, CNN covered it all over the place. So
yeah, that's
if
because
this was
China
a
is
truth
currently in a
satellite-
global war against the USA to try to gain global hegemony, and the American global hegemony isn't happy. Because the Chinese are the only ones who don't play in with the global elite.
Yeah, but China was exposing the truth about the satellites because it was just a weather balloon, yet still CNN was broadcasting.
China's in on it, bro.
I think they would cover it, but they should cover up all of that stuff. They would've
China's
never-
in on it.
In on what? The conspiracy or they're
The global conspiracy, yeah.
So if they were in on it and they had a weather balloon that they're trying to disguise as satellites, so why would they take pictures of that and post it all over the internet when they're trying to hide that?
Why would...
You know?
So you realize that there are satelloons. These are the things that Elon Musk is putting up into space. And then there's like normal weather balloons, because people are like, not everybody cares about the flat earth the whole time. Sometimes people actually want to know whether it's going to rain tomorrow.
Yeah, and these weather balloons, it's actually different from the spy balloon. The spy balloon that China sent, that one looks exactly like what flat earthers say are the true satellites. So
Yeah, that's not what I've
and
seen.
They say that it gets hidden.
That's
They
not what
say
I've
that
seen.
These things get hidden, but it gets blasted all over the internet.
No, I mean that one obviously did. Because that way
Yeah,
so that one obviously did, because if they didn't, then how would they lie to us about the other ones?
I mean, if I was trying to convince you that leprechauns don't exist, when someone takes a picture of a leprechaun, I'm not gonna blast it all over CNN and BBC.
When you then get to make fun of people who think that the globe is fake, you get to make fun of people who are that are Earth truthers. You know, it's just a psyop, dude, and it seems like you've bought into it hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah, I just believe whatever I see on the internet. Yeah, I just.
It sounds like it. Have you ever done any observations yourself?
No, I've never seen anything in my life.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, you should go out and try to do some real science. The original scientists, you know, people like Aristotle, they knew it was up.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they knew that the sun was small and local. I have a question about the sun though.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Yeah, so you know how vision works? Like when something goes away from you, its angular size decreases.
Yeah, but that's
You know,
only if it's close.
Yeah, so the sun is close on the flat Earth model.
Well, it's
so
not that
when the
close.
sun
It's got to be at least a few thousand miles up.
yeah, and it's still big enough for you to, you know.
I've done the math. It has to be like 50 miles wide. So if it's 5,000 miles away and then it gets like 5,500 miles away, it's not really that big of a difference in size. Not big enough that you'd notice.
But yeah, but yet still, it's still big enough of a difference to cause the difference between night and day, right? Because that's what.
Well, yeah, that's because of atmospheric extinction. That has nothing to do with angular size. Get with the program. Pick up an optics textbook.
Yeah, but isn't atmospheric extinction contingent on like the refractory index of the atmosphere?
It's just contingent on the atmosphere plane actually having air in it. Obviously, air absorbs some of the light. That's why you can't see forever.
Yeah, but the light passing through air is gonna incur some form of refraction, and the refraction.
Sure, refraction happens. That's why.
Changes.
Yeah, refraction happens sometimes, but that's not atmospheric extinction.
So, but you said atmospheric extinction is gonna incorporate, you know, the atmosphere or the atmosphere plane, and the atmosphere plane incorporates the refractory index, which changes.
Yes, but these are two separate effects.
Okay, so delineate them.
Yeah, so one is the result of the atmosphere absorbing. I'm sorry, I've been indoctrinated too hard. The atmosphere plane absorbing the light from the sun. The other one is the result of the atmosphere plane refracting the light from the sun. These are two different things. One is absorption, meaning that you have different light rays that cease to exist. They heat up the atmosphere plane. And on the other hand, you have light planes that don't cease to exist, but they get bent.
Okay, so the atmospheric extinction, that's the absorbing of light waves.
Yes.
Okay, so do you take this absorption of light waves from a more like classical sense, or like from like a quantum mechanical sense?
Quantum mechanics is fake science.
Okay, so a more classical sense. Okay, so but you do know that quantum mechanics was partially discovered when Einstein realized his photoelectric effect about how, you know, electrons...
That was made up so they could give him the Nobel Prize because they didn't want to admit that special relativity was wrong.
Wait, how would that impart special relativity?
Well, because if they didn't give it to him for this, if they didn't give it to him for special relativity because that's what he lied about to everybody to convince them that the Earth is a globe, people would be confused. They're like, why didn't he get a Nobel Prize for this really big deal? And now they can say, oh, well, they gave him one for something else.
Okay, so you don't believe special relativity exists?
Obviously not. The ether's real.
Okay, so do you know how the Michelson-Morley experiment disproved the ether?
The Michelson-Morley experiment detected 6 kilometers per second of motion.
They didn't detect any motion.
Go look at the original paper. They detected 6 kilometers per second of motion.
So, yeah, I've looked at the papers. I didn't see any of that.
Well, their chart is certainly not flat, I can tell you that much. It goes up and down by 6 kilometers per second. It was lower than expected. They expected 30 kilometers per second, but they still measured 6 kilometers per second.
Okay, so you say this is the ether moving like...
Yeah, it's called ether drag. Imperfect ether drag, yeah.
Okay, so what about different experiments that we can do today, recreations of the Michelson-Morley experiment, like one was done by the Action Lab, and he found...
When did the Action Lab do a recreation of the Michelson-Morley experiment? Because generally the Action Lab is, you know, for a bunch of shills, they're actually generally okay.
I mean, like, probably like last year or so, you could look it up. He did a recreation of it.
Oh yeah, he says it himself. It's
also...
a famous failed experiment. They failed to detect the 30 kilometers per second, but they did detect 6 kilometers per second. You're right. It was a failed experiment.
Yeah, I watched the whole video. It never said anything about they did detect 6 kilometers per second.
Well, maybe he's just lying to you.
Yeah.
Did you actually look at the paper, or did you just watch a video on YouTube?
I did both.
Okay, well, if you go look at the paper, you can see that it oscillates between minus 6 kilometers per second and plus 6 kilometers per second. Obvious proof of partial ether drag.
So the ether itself is oscillating, or?
The ether is dragging. It's dragging as it spins around above the plane.
Okay, so these light, these photons, you still believe that they oscillate between electric fields and magnetic fields?
You think that photons are real?
Yeah.
Bro believes in quantum voodoo. Sorry, that's insensitive. Quantum witchcraft.
That's also insensitive, but anyways. Yeah, photons, they do exist. They're the individual quanta of light.
Can you see photons?
Technically, that's the only thing you can see.
Prove it. I've never seen a photon.
Yeah, I've never seen a photon, but I've seen, you know, a collection of photons.
Oh, okay, how do you know it's not just a wave of light like Young famously proved in the 1800s?
Yeah, that would be a photon, just in
A
its
wave?
wave-like
How can a photon be a wave?
Yeah, that would be a photon exhibiting wave-like characteristics, or a bundle of them.
Oh, okay, so a photon is a particle that has wave-like characteristic. That's, dude, you're just talking about magic.
It's called quantum mechanics.
Yeah, and have you ever done any quantum mechanics
yeah.
experiments or nah?
If you call the radioactive decay of potassium-40 that I do in my digestive system every day, then sure.
Oh,
but
so you took
I don't think
measurements?
it'll happen, no.
You took measurements of the magic glowing rocks?
No, I can't exactly go inside my digestive system and do that.
Yeah, so
but
why'd you lie to me about doing experiments?
I gave you an option if as your criteria for experiments. So you
Well,
can
it doesn't
choose
count.
between-
Doesn't count. You didn't measure anything. It doesn't count. What was your independent variable?
My independent variable.
Yeah.
For what the isotopes of potassium that I eat from bananas? Is that what you're asking, or are you asking me a different experiment
I'm asking for any experiment that you've ever done.
to prove quantum mechanics?
Yeah.
Yeah. What about proving the diffraction of light using a piece of hair and a laser pointer?
That's perfectly well explained by a classical understanding of electromagnetic waves as demonstrated by Maxwell. In the 1880s.
these-
You gotta get up, man. Man, your science is out of date.
Yeah, these electromagnetic waves. So you believe that still classically, when we see the constructive and destructive interference patterns, this is just basic classical.
Yeah, I mean that's what was known back in the 1800s, and you absolutely did. They absolutely weren't able to show otherwise. I mean that's consistent with the ether drag that we see in the real world from the Michelson-Morley experiment. This is all coming out soon, brother.
I mean, I would say it isn't, but it's interesting that like Michelson-Morley, they used like an interferometry device, and you believe in that, but there's interferometry devices today that detects the rotation of the Earth, and you wouldn't believe in that. So it's like
They are just reifying their special relativity. They're assuming that special relativity will give them the correct answer. They're not actually testing their independent variables of the actual shape of the Earth. It's bad scientific practice, but you can't blame them. They've been indoctrinated like you.
I mean, the basic principles of the interferometry devices that detect the Earth's rotation, those are the same basic principles that police radar guns use to detect
Interferometry works. Interferometry works. It's just if you assume special relativity, then you're reifying the theory, and you can't do that if you're trying to do proper science.
So, a police radar gun assumes special relativity? Because
No, interferometry works. The people who use interferometry to try to prove special relativity assume special relativity in doing so. And that's reification.
Well, I'm not really talking about proving special relativity. I'm talking about proving the rotation of the globe.
Oh, okay, how are you going to prove the rotation of the globe, huh? Without assuming special relativity, how are you going to prove the rotation of the globe?
Okay, so I'll tell you, and you tell me if it's right, or if you think it's right. So, if you have like light waves moving in the same direction as the rotation of the Earth, then that means that their frequency should change, and the wavelength should also change. And if you have light waves moving in the
Why are you
opposite
assuming
direction
that the speed isn't changing?
Okay, the speed of the light.
Yeah.
Yeah, and now I'm gonna say because light speed is constant, then you're gonna say I'm assuming special relativity.
Yep.
But yeah, light speed.
So
is
how do you rule out that the speed of light isn't changing and it's what's causing the effect that you've seen?
Yeah, if the speed of light was changing, I don't think we would be able to, know anything regarding this. So police radar
Why not?
guns
Why
wouldn't
couldn't
work.
we could just measure it? In fact, the Sagnac effect does this. The Sagnac effect measures a linear shift in the speed of light, which is a first order effect and cannot be modified or cannot be predicted by the second order effects of special relativity. The Lorentz factor only has second order effects in it. It doesn't have linear effects. The Sagnac effect disproves special relativity.
How exactly?
Because the Sagnac effect is a linear order first order effect in the speed of the rotation of the speed of the rotation of the plate, and special relativity can only account for second order effects.
Okay, so because special relativity can only account for second order effects, it just doesn't exist.
Well, yeah, it's wrong. It's falsified. That's how we do science.
Okay, so you don't believe that there's so you believe that there's a reference frame that you could have motion
Yeah,
existing
the reference frame of the planar Earth.
So like those hypotheticals that they give you about like time dilation, why it's necessary.
That's made up.
Like that's just made up.
Not real.
So that means you would be able to measure the two-way speed of light then.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so you've done it and it's the same as the one-way speed of light?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Well, I haven't done it personally, but like it's if you measure it in the reference frame of the planar Earth, then that's the speed.
all right, so you just believe what somebody else says. All right, I got you.
I'm just going off of your science, brother. And by the way, Hippolyte Fizeau was the first person to measure the speed of light, and he was a flat earther.
What did you say his name was?
Hippolyte Fizeau.
Was he the first person to accurately measure the speed of light?
Yep.
Or it's not one of those like
back in the 1800s.
Inaccurate experiments with like Galileo and like lanterns on a hill.
Nope. He accurately measured it to within a few percent of what we know it as now.
Was it the experiment with like the gear spinning and like
Yep, it was that experiment.
Partially refracting mirror?
Yep.
Okay, so yeah, I know that one's accurate. So, but I'm not sure if his flat Earth believes, but they're
Yeah, you should educate yourself.
null and void. Yeah, all of that. But yeah, I'm a indoctrinated heliosexual, and yeah.
You said it first, brother. All right, now get out of here, you shill. All right, let's talk to. Oh no, we have some potential globe shills in the YouTube waiting room.
Some potential globe shills in
Max,
the
you're on.
waiting room. Some potential globe shills in
Hello, I'm Max. Yep.
Yeah, you gotta mute your phone because I can hear both.
Okay.
Howdy, Max. How's it going?
That's good. And you?
I'm doing okay. Just here crushing globers left and right. It's what I do.
About how to prove that the Earth is spinning. Have you tried you know when you put water in a bucket and you spin it?
Yeah.
The water stays still.
Yeah.
In
that's
the
Mach's principle. It's the ether holding it in place.
What the hell is ether?
Ether is what light travels through, and it's what causes all of the Coriolis effects.
About the Coriolis effect, whatchamacallit? How does it work exactly?
Well, the ether is spinning one way between the equator and the northern pole, and it's spinning the other way between the equator and the southern ring.
Well, in my opinion, whether the Earth being a globe is a more convincing theory to me as a person.
Just because some NASA shills told you that? Did you know that the globe wasn't even in the encyclopedia until 1954?
Okay, and it's
so if they knew the shape of the Earth, why did it take them until after NASA was founded for them to declare that the Earth was a globe?
Because I don't know, they being them. Number one, the Earth, Australia, Antarctica being an ice wall. How does that make any sense?
Well, we have pictures of the ice wall, and it holds the water in.
Holds the water in, but y'all going through way too much process to prove something that doesn't exist.
How do you know it doesn't exist? Have you ever been there?
Have you been there?
You're not allowed to. The military will shoot you down before you get there.
No, you're not. No.
Oh, then what was the Antarctic Treaty?
For no country to set up military bases there, like to use it. It's like
Yeah,
a
and you think
basic.
that every country came together and agreed, even though they were at war during the Cold War, they agreed, yeah, let's just all agree to not put our military in Antarctica. You've gotten lied to, brother.
Exactly the reason why it's because they're at a war. Either one tries to go, that the other one will attack them because they don't want another country to have an advantage over them.
Oh, okay, yeah. So definitely the Russians and the Russians and the Americans could definitely agree on this, even though it was the height of the Cold War.
Yes.
You should go read the treaty, bro.
Yeah.
See what it says. It says that they don't let you read. They don't let you in.
No, a bunch of people.
Just like a standard globe head. Nuh-uh.
I'm not being I'm just saying. I listen to your theory. I'm just saying mine sounds more convincing.
More convincing to who? Indoctrinated sheep?
How's the indoctrinated sheep?
Because you just believe what NASA told you, and NASA was founded by Nazis.
You're telling me something else, and you expect me just to believe it. It's basically
no.
the
Just
same.
go outside and look with your own eyes. It looks flat.
Look at what?
The Earth, the ground. Does water ever bend?
Yes.
Okay, go out. Go show me some bending water. I didn't know that we had the Avatar on here.
Well, oh my God. Also, what's my God? The moon is not just a floating orb of light. Like what?
That sounds like incredulity. Have you ever been to the moon?
Have you?
No, but I can obviously tell that it's cold light, and if it was a real thing that was reflecting light, it would be the same kind of light.
Explain what you call it. What do you call it again? God, a lunar eclipse. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess sometimes the light gets dark. Can you explain a Selenelian lunar eclipse? Because how can it be that the sun is up and the moon is up, and yet Earth is somehow blocking the moon? Checkmate, globe.
What?
Yeah, you should look at the Selenelian eclipse, also known as the impossible eclipse, because the moon and the sun can both be seen at the same time, and yet somehow it's a lunar eclipse.
The moon is weird, I guess.
Nobody understands eclipses. I'm honest enough to admit that I don't.
I never said I. I'm just saying that if the moon was like a floating orb of light, why does it get? How can it block out the sun?
It doesn't block out the sun. That's a second moon. It's a dark moon.
The fuck? God, yeah. That's just confusing.
Do your own research, dude.
Also, what you got? You said the sun when it gets the sunset, it just becomes dark. It like the earth being an orb or something being round explains it because it goes rotate on the earth and like you can't. I'm sorry.
You're saying that the Earth is spinning at 1,000 miles an hour while flying through space at 66,600 miles an hour, while flying through the universe at 2 million miles an hour, and you think that's more plausible than the sun and the moon just are lights in the sky, like everybody has always known for the last 3,000 years? Come on, get with the times.
You're the one not getting with the times.
Look, the ancients knew more. What do you think that? Do you think that we know how to build pyramids today?
Yes, we
okay, why aren't we building any pyramids then, huh?
Because we have no need to. Tell me a good reason to build a pyramid.
Why is it that the pyramids are perfectly aligned with the stars, and why can't we build any buildings that are that perfectly aligned anymore?
Why would we need to?
Obviously, the stars are an energy source.
For what?
I mean, you use electricity, right?
Yes.
So you could use energy. Why do you think all of Tesla's research was taken by the government after he died?
I don't know. I don't go into that stuff. I'm just saying there's no need to make a pyramid at all.
If you need electricity.
We have electricity.
The ancient Egyptians used the pyramids to generate electricity and gather it from Orion's belt.
No, they did not.
Oh, okay. Well, what about the Baghdad battery? They clearly they clearly discovered electricity before then.
The Baghdad battery was like a. They didn't have a use for it. It was like a.
The Baghdad battery was powering the portals below the pyramid, dude.
Okay, you just said portals, and that where you lost me.
Okay, so you're willing to accept all of this globe nonsense, but the moment I say anything that's even partially maybe contentious, you're like, no, that's too far.
Excuse me. I'm more willing to believe in the flat Earth than in portals.
What do you think? Where do you think the portals go? They take you to other parts of the other realms in the flat Earth.
Just so number one, if there was more land there, ain't no way you're just not gonna use it for nothing.
Who do you wait, hold on. Now you're getting it. Because, you see, that's why they're not telling us. That's why they're hiding it from us, so that they can have it for themselves.
For what? What are you gonna use that much land
The same
for?
kind of thing that Epstein's Island was used for, dude.
Okay. You just let me Epstein Island into this. I'm just saying is that there's no reason to keep that much land to yourself. It's basically being useless.
Wait, since when in human history has anybody ever said, I don't want more land?
Me.
Okay, well, you are the exception, I suppose.
Bruh.
Throughout all of human history, it's always been about getting more and more land.
You're saying there's this all-powerful, whatchamacallit?
It's the Freemasons, dude.
What? That are using the other lands as basically Epstein Island.
Yeah.
So you're saying they have enough power to take over the world and just
they've been controlling it. They've been controlling it ever since the Austro-Hungarians in the 16th century, maybe even earlier. But that's as far back as I know.
Bro, that's just I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just saying it's so unrealistic.
But somehow a space rock flying through space at millions of miles an hour in an empty space being tugged on by a magical gravity, somehow that's more realistic. Okay,
and
sure.
what are asteroids then?
They're pieces of the firmament falling off.
What's a oh my lord!
That's where the light comes from.
God damn. What? Also, you said the whole space program was just like people sending rockets into the ocean.
Yeah.
What?
I mean, why do you think they curve over after they launch?
Because the Earth is a a sphere.
Why wouldn't they go straight up if they're trying to get to space? Duh.
Because you miss the targets. Because the Earth is spinning. They're getting
miss
out
their
of
target. So what? They're gonna miss space unless they arc over.
But the Earth is spinning. It's a sphere. You're launching straight up.
Look,
you're just gonna miss it.
I'm a level with you. Okay. Have you ever been on a merry-go-round?
Yes.
Okay. When you're on a merry-go-round, you can feel yourself spinning. Why can't we feel ourselves spinning if the Earth is spinning?
Because gravity, dude.
Why would gravity stop us from feeling the spin? We can feel the spin on the merry-go-round, even though gravity is still pulling us down.
Bro, we feel the spin. Because one, the merry-go-round, it's small. It's not as big as the Earth.
The Earth is spinning at 1,000 miles an hour, bro.
Yes, and
according to your shill model.
And that's generating gravity.
Wait, so even according to your own model, the spin of the Earth doesn't generate gravity, bud.
Then what does?
Well, according to your model, the spin of the Earth does nothing. It's just magic flying space rocks. It's just there for no reason.
So the Earth doesn't generate gravity.
Well, gravity's not real.
It is, bruv.
Oh, have you ever seen gravity? Have you ever felt, tasted, touched, heard gravity?
So have you felt air? I mean, yes, you have. Yeah, we feel it. Have you?
Oh, we feel gravity.
Air?
What does gravity feel like? What color is gravity?
Being on the ground, dude. Have you seen air?
That's
you
electrostatics, obviously.
How you consider about air too, bruv?
Have I considered air? Yeah,
I meant air. air. I meant like oxygen.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
can say
yeah.
that
Air exists. I can breathe.
same does you those same arguments go for air.
Yeah, but I can see air when
can't see
when the
air.
ground is hot, and the air is cold, you can see the wiggles in the air.
Oh yeah, okay, that's fair. But that goes for gravity too, except seeing
Oh,
it.
you can see gravity? Okay.
I said that goes for gravity except seeing it. You can feel gravity.
Oh, how do you know you're not feeling the electrostatic principal gauge bundle force? The residual electromagnetic force? Sorry, the residual electrostatic force?
The stuff that attracts like balloons to like your head and stuff.
Yeah, it's a similar thing. It's residual, so it's not actually the same thing, and it's not described by Maxwell's equations. It's described by Maxwell's scalar equations. This was improved upon by Kaluza and Klein in the early 1900s, and then it was silenced by Einstein.
What reason do they have to silence it, bro?
Because it would reveal the true shape of the Earth.
And that changes what?
Then we would know that there's more land out there.
Okay. The more land stuff. The whole method, let's say this is true. The whole method is stupid as hell. Why would
the
you?
The method?
Like, the whole method of, like...
It's working on you, obviously.
Bro,
you're on here fighting about something when you could have all of the resources that you want if only you knew that there was more Earth than just what we have here.
And people will still fight for the resources. That's what humans...
Not if there's an infinite amount, brother.
Wait, you're saying there's an infinite amount of land?
It's an infinite topographic plane.
But infinity doesn't exist.
Oh, okay, can you prove that?
Can you prove it exists?
I mean, it seems like people disappear and then they come back and say that there's more land out there than there is in all of North America. This was Admiral Byrd that said this.
People go say there's aliens. What do you expect people?
He was an admiral with the U.S. Navy.
Some whatchamacallit, some military personnel say they saw aliens, so you're gonna believe that too?
Well, they're not aliens, they're Anunnaki, but yeah.
Same thing.
No, Anunnaki have been here the whole time. They're the under people.
There's under people now?
Yeah, who do you think causes earthquakes?
Titanic movement, but I mean Titanic plate movement.
Oh, okay, so you're willing to believe that rocks just magically move on their own and there's not something causing them? Okay.
It doesn't just move on its own. It's the underlayer melting because the inside of the earth is hot, incredibly hot.
Oh, but then why is it when you go into a cave it's cold?
Because we're on the top. Have you gone far underneath the earth enough to feel the heat?
Oh, I don't think it gets hotter when you get deeper. Why would it get hotter?
Because magma.
Because magma?
Yes.
Bro, magma is just superheated rock from the under people's furnaces.
That one is some bullshit. That's just, you're saying magma. It's from your furnaces.
Yeah.
Why?
Why what?
Bro. God. Then how is there so much of it? You're trying to tell me there's a whole race under the just...
Yeah, they're the Anunnaki. They've been recorded in ancient history. The Babylonians knew about them.
And I thought questions was how. Well, it's obvious I am not educated enough to change your mind. I wasn't even trying to, I was just trying to say what I think and what I know. Well,
look,
it's obvious.
Max, I can tell that you're genuine and that you're really seeking truth. So I would just suggest just go do your own research. There's plenty of people who have been doing investigative and independent journalism. You can find them on YouTube. They'll really tell you what's up, okay?
I try. To be honest, none of this changes how the world is for me. If it's round or flat, it doesn't change anything. Like, society still sucks.
You said it, brother. But Max, I'm gonna let you go because it seems like you're having a hard time. So take care and find the truth, brother.
Sure.
Peace and love. All right. I mean, I blitzed him hard, but like, he seemed like he was honest and he really wanted to know the truth. So we gotta do well. We gotta do well by our people. All right, let's bring up the next guest. Who's ready to get flat smacked? Let's go. All right, let's bring up River Roo.
Hello.
River, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing okay. Do you think that the Earth is a globe?
I sure do.
Ah, shame.
So I guess my first question is, I'm so sorry about my cat.
It's okay. Cat's cute. We can agree on that.
Yes, I agree. Do you think that the moon emits its own light?
Yeah, it's cold.
What do you mean?
Well, if you put your thermometer in the moonlight on a full moon, and then you put it in the shade under like a tree, not in the full moon, at the same time, it'll be warmer in the shade. The moon emits cold light.
Okay, but it's still, you're saying that the moon itself emits light.
Well, yeah, it can't be reflected from the sun, because if it was reflected from the sun, it would be warm light, like the sun emits.
Sure. So with lunar eclipses, because we
Mhm.
can observe those, right?
Yeah.
How do you explain those ones?
I don't think anybody has a good explanation for lunar eclipses. Certainly not globes, because on a globe, there's a so-called impossible eclipse that happens when somehow the moon and the sun are both above the horizon. How can you see them both, and how could the globe be obstructing the moon? Doesn't make
Wow,
sense.
such an interesting point you have. I mean, I think that one of the things that we can observe is, I'm going to pivot for a second and come back to it.
Typical glober. No, I'm kidding. You're fine.
What about sunsets? Can you explain sunsets?
Yeah, the sun gets far away. And because of
So,
perspective, it gets lower, and because of atmospheric extinction, it goes away.
so why, when you observe a sunset, does it not actually, like, if you see the sun up in the sky in the middle of the day,
Mm-hmm.
and then it starts to lower, the sun is not getting smaller, like
Oh, because it's already so
reflectively.
far away. That, combined with the azimuthal field of vision, keeps its size approximately the same. It does change a little bit during a sunset, but only a little bit.
But if it, wait, say that again?
There's two features here. It's very far away, so the perspective effect is quite small to begin with. And secondly, there's the azimuthal field of vision. Our vision itself is curved, which makes far away things get bigger slightly. And so because the sun is so far away, it just appears to not change in size except a little bit.
Okay, and so why, like, if you're looking at an ocean, so there's nothing, there's nothing blocking it
Mhm.
past there, why does the sun stop? Like, it starts to, become a half a sun, a quarter of a sun, like it's not round the whole time.
That's because the part that's getting close to the horizon is getting smaller than our there's a word I'm looking for. Getting smaller than the angular resolution. It's getting below the Rayleigh criterion for our pupils. And so when it gets below that, you just can't see it anymore. So if it gets too close to the horizon, you just can't see it.
No, but when it lowers, it's still, so it's a circle.
So it's getting far away, and then because it's getting
Yes.
far away, and because of perspective, it gets lower, and the part that gets lower gets cut off because of the Rayleigh criterion of the eye.
You have too many smart words.
I mean, look, I've been studying this for 10 years.
I know. You sure have. Yeah,
All right, Riveroo. Anything else?
Yeah, you got me. Have a good
All right.
month.
Take care. All right, let's bring up the next shill. Here's somebody whose name is Genius. If they're a globehead, they can't be a genius. You know, Hippolyte Fizeau was a flat earther, and he measured the speed of light for the first time. Genius, how's it going?
It's going well.
I'm glad.
So
You think the Earth is a globe?
yeah. Yes, obviously. So
Okay, yeah, so
my
you've been
argument,
indoctrinated then?
I think so. Yes. So my argument is that a triangle on a flat plane can only have 180 degree, like a triangle, but on a globe, a triangle can have like 270 degree, more than 270 degree as a total angle in it.
That'd be
And
great,
this
except nobody's
is
ever measured
possible.
that before.
They have.
Oh, who?
Yes, they have done that.
Who?
Have the flat earthers. Wait, let me put it like this. Let me put the thing like this. Have the flat earthers debunked that? Actually,
No,
trying
that's
to do
just how geometry
No.
works. In fact, that's proof that the Earth is flat because when we measure triangles, like I can just make a triangle right now and it has 180 degrees.
Okay. I guess they have talked about the eclipse and the other things. Eclipse, the solar eclipse and the lunar eclipse.
Yep.
Those should to prove to you that Earth is a globe, right?
Since when does looking in the sky tell you what shape the ground is?
Because one, for instance, light casts shadow. If an object obstructs light, it casts shadow because it's moving in a straight line. So
Oh wait, light
when
moves in a straight line? Okay, GG, checkmate. Checkmate, Einstein.
so for the blood moon, the sun is at the earth is between the sun and the moon.
Oh,
So the
okay.
shadow of the earth is cast upon moon, making it appearing red.
Okay,
blood
so
red.
tell me, how does a blood moon
That's
happen when both the sun and the moon are above the horizon?
that does not. You don't even need that in that. That's just English word. I don't understand. You don't need the horizon or the thing you're saying.
If they're
Everything
both above
is-
the horizon,
the
how
only
can
thing
the
is-
Earth be in the middle of them?
That's what do you mean by horizon? Let's start with that.
If
What do
you
mean
can
by
see the moon and the sun at the same time, how can there be a lunar eclipse?
You are not saying you are actually they are always there at the same time. It's just that in the afternoon, because it is
So then the sun isn't.
the
So then the
sunlight-
Earth isn't between the sun and the moon. If you can see both of them, the Earth isn't between them.
If I can see both of them, yet it's not everywhere the eclipse is happening. It's just that because where you are standing, from your reference frame, it appears like that. From other parts of
How
the
could the Earth
probably
be
they won't see like
How
that.
could
That's
the
why
Earth?
eclipse is so.
How could the Earth be blocking the? How could the Earth be blocking the light from the sun to the moon, if I can see both of them?
That I'm saying. The moment when the earth and the sun and everything are doing their rotation, it happens to be from your perspective of vision, that the earth is in the middle of the sun and the
Look,
moon.
if they're both in the sky, then there's a straight
But
line
you are not seeing
connecting
the sun
them, which
because it's
means
on
that
that
the
side.
Earth isn't blocking it.
Connecting them. Okay.
If there's a straight line
Okay,
connecting the
okay,
Earth, if
okay,
there's a straight line connecting
okay.
the sun to the moon, that means the Earth isn't in the way. So how could this blood moon be happening?
Okay, let's take it like this. Since
Hey, they call this
it's the
the
sunlight that is
impossible
reflected
eclipse
on
for a reason. It's because it destroys the globe.
Yeah, I think I can explain it. Since it's the reflection of the sun that is on the moon at night, and we don't used to see the sun when the reflection is happening, then
If it's the
it
reflection of
means
the moon, if it's the reflection of the
night-
sun at night, then why is the moon's light cold and the sun's light hot?
because it's not reflecting infrared ray from the sun.
Oh,
Because light have,
so somehow the
different
magical
wavelengths.
reflection turns hot light into cold light?
That's not it. What happens is that the lights have different wavelengths, and the wavelengths, the one that make it hot in the day, is the infrared ray. I think the moon is not reflecting probably absorbing.
You're not
It's
understanding.
not
The moon
reflecting.
emits cold light. It cools things down. It doesn't just not heat things up.
Because it's visible light. Visible light does not have.
Does visible light
does
cool
not-
things
does not
down?
heat things
No,
up.
this is gray
It
light,
reflects-
dude. Gray light
does
cools
not
things
reflect
down. The sun doesn't emit gray light.
It's not cooling it down.
It
So,
does. You can put a
I think-
thermometer in the moon, and you can put a thermometer under the shadow of a tree. That's during a full moon, and it'll be hotter in the shadow.
It's just because you are in different place. One place can be colder than the rest. It does
You
not
can
mean
do
that
it
it's the
right
light
next
that
to
is
each
causing
other.
it.
The one in the shadow will be warmer. Hey, do you believe in the Bible?
No, Bible, nah. Let's stay with how the earth is rotating. Is the earth rotating or is the earth
No,
flat?
obviously it's not rotating. If it
So,
was rotating, we would
people
be
have been
flung
talking
off of
about-
it.
We are old. No, that can't happen.
Why not?
Because we are old in by gravity.
It's spinning
One,
at
because we are holding
1,000
by gravity.
miles per hour.
Secondly, because it's in
1,000 miles per
constant-
hour, dude.
Constant in physics, constant speed, you won't notice you are moving.
No.
because you are not accelerating.
Rotation
If
rotation
you are
isn't inertial. You don't get out of it by just saying it's constant speed. It's a rotation. You can always feel rotation regardless of whether it's staying the same speed or changing.
And you see, if the egg stop rotating now, you'll probably be flung off because that's when you have a real acceleration. I know that there's always acceleration because of changing of direction, but
So why don't we
there are
feel
many
it?
factors.
Why
that
don't
is
we feel
affecting-
the acceleration?
There are many factors that is affecting this. One, constant speed. Two, because you are too small. Three, because of gravity. There are many things that can cause this. I know you might not believe in gravity, but gravity actually is.
Yeah, can you prove that gravity's
too.
real?
So most flat earthers will say that it's fluid dynamics or stuff that happen. But there's something that is very interesting is that if you take a vacuum, and there's not any gas in it, and you drop two objects at the same time, they will hit the ground. If they're even hammer or feather together, they will drop at the same time. According to Newton's law.
Yeah, you know why
anything
that
is
happens?
in
That
motion
happens
should be
because of Kaluza-Klein, or at least it's well described by Kaluza-Klein's theory about the principal one gauge bundle for the scalar component of the Maxwell field. It causes residual
does not even
electrostatic
exist.
attraction downwards in direct opposition with the potential
That does not
gradient
even-
upwards.
What you just mentioned that does not even exist. I've not heard about that before.
Oh,
and
okay,
I don't
yeah,
think that
yeah,
really
yeah.
exists.
Surely the Kaluza-Klein doesn't exist. They were just two of the most famous mathematicians and physicists of the day.
Okay. So can I proceed with my gravity demonstration?
Yeah, if you want, but if you're just gonna drop something, that's perfectly well explained by electrostatic attraction.
Okay. I'm not. It can never. What is even the electrostatic attraction you're talking about? And let me know what you mean by that.
Yeah, I mean it's a residual force that acts on all things because all things are made of charged particles, and it acts on the absolute value of the charge rather than the actual value of the charge because of the Z2 symmetry of the U1 principal gauge bundle.
Since I might convert to flat Earth, perhaps you should convince me with like 2 sentences without saying big.
Yeah,
words.
the Earth.
I should be able to know what
go
you're actually
outside,
saying.
it looks flat. That should be enough to convince you.
Yeah, that's have nothing to do with the electrostatic force you just talked about. I want to know the meaning of that electrostatic force because it keeps.
Yeah, so that you'll need to go learn some classical field theory. I would suggest you go read up on Kaluza-Klein.
I want to convert. Don't you want a new believer? You should want a new.
Well, yeah,
believer
it's
that
just look.
wants
I've been
to be
studying this
from
for a long
a
time, and
flat
it's pretty advanced stuff. So you might have to actually educate yourself and do your own research.
So you don't want a new disciple in this thing.
Sorry, I can't hear you.
You don't want a new disciple. You should probably
Look,
tell
I'm
me
just
more.
spreading the truth here. I don't want any
You don't want a
disciples.
new disciple.
I just want everybody to
You should
think for
probably-
themselves.
They are spreading the truth. What then? Tell me the truth about the electrostatic force you are talking about. I want to know the
I
meaning
did.
of. You said residual.
It's described by the
stuff. I don't know.
Kaluza-Klein classical field theory,
Because
describing a principal U1
so what
gauge
is
bundle
that?
that excites the scalar fields of Maxwell, the scalar Maxwell field, in direct opposition with the upwards,
It's like you just write that thing
upwards
like
electrical
it's like
gradient.
you write this thing down and put. I hear classical. I hear everything, and I'm very certain there's nothing classic about charges. There's
There's not a
nothing
what?
classic about charges. They
Nothing
work with
classic
quantum.
about charges?
There's
What
nothing
do you
classical.
think that they didn't understand that you can transfer
Yes.
charges from one place to another in a classical way prior to quantum mechanics?
You can't do that.
Why not?
Yes, everything about charges should be quantum from quantum explanation, because you just make many mistakes. You can't explain it, and
It
there have
makes
been
many
debate on
mistakes.
this,
Oh yeah, find
and
one.
very very well. So yes, that's the reason why you can't put classical mechanisms with quantum mechanisms in the same
Quantum
sentence.
mechanisms are
That's one of
quantum
the things, like
mechanisms are fake
small
science that they had to invent to prevent that they had to invent to stop to make sure that Einstein could get a Nobel Prize for something they knew was wrong.
I'm the easiest example I can give you of a quantum mechanism. Quantum easy example. Actually, I'm actually not saying that, but yes, the color of light.
The
Why
color of light
does
is perfectly
certain
well
light have
explained by
that
Maxwell's
color they
equations,
have?
my guy. Look, here's
Yeah,
another
this
reason why
this just
here's another
shows
reason why you should think that the Earth is
see,
flat. You know how they're called tectonic plates?
okay,
Are they called tectonic
okay,
globes or are they called tectonic plates? Checkmate globe.
because they are talking about some. It's not checkmate. That's not checkmate.
I mean, look, what
the
you're
plates you are
trying to
talking about.
look. The plates should be curved. If the Earth is a globe, the plates should be curved, but they're not. They're plates.
Okay. One thing is you are talking about ether the other time. You are talking about ether the other time. You say that is the ether that caused the Coriolis effects. And it's
Yeah.
the one that make the light to spread too. Yeah, that's actually wrong. It's just a
Okay, can
simple
you prove
example.
that? Because the
If you are
Michelson
using the
Morley experiment
light
and Airy's
to give
failure both
example,
proved it.
okay, let me just give you why that can be happening. Because of your ether have to move in a direction, right?
It does move in a direction, yeah.
Are you with me? Your
Yeah.
ether
It
have
does
to
move in a direction. It spins
yes,
around.
okay.
Spins
So
around above us.
if it's moving like a river, something like that, right?
No, it spins. It
Like a river.
spins. It spins
You
one
are
way
saying
in the
like a river.
in the northern hemisphere plane and another way in the southern hemisphere plane.
Okay. Okay. It's just moving in a direction. So if it's moving in a direction and light is moving in the same direction with it, it's going to be of one speed. But what
Yeah, it is.
if light is moving against the ether?
Yep,
Like it's
that's
moving
what
against
happens.
the
That's
ether.
what
It's not
Michelson and
moving
Morley
in front.
measured.
Then light will not. The light will not be
Light
the same
travels at
speed
different speed. Yep,
with
it does. It
the
does.
one
That's
moving
what they
with the
measured.
ether.
It differs by 6 kilometers per second.
How the light traveling at different
It's
speed?
called partial
Eh?
ether drag.
Nah,
This
that's
guy's
not
spewing
even,
too
that's
much of
not
this
even correct.
globe shield. Get flat smacked by blitzed. Get wrecked. Touching grass. Have you touched grass and realized that the Earth's flat yet?
Yeah, I definitely call myself like an independent scientist. I'm not as educated as you, but I did want to get your take on some things that I've been seeing. So one of the things I've been seeing is I guess the stuff that Elon Musk is doing. You know, we know him and Sam Altman. They're definitely Freemasons.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But
You know, Elon Musk's
guess-
original last name was Elon Scum, but he changed it and wrote it backwards.
See, I didn't even know that. I did, they're definitely hiding a lot of that stuff, but I guess the concern that I'm having is, a lot of this rocket stuff was, was fake before, but I guess now, we know he's trying to build these rockets to eventually break through the firmament.
Yeah, it's
Do
all
you
it's
think
all some
that?
bullshit.
Do you think that we something like that could happen in our lifetimes? Because
I hope not, because then the Earth's gonna flood again.
Right.
Because what do you think's up there? It's probably water.
Yeah, and then I've also heard that the firmament is self-healing in a way, so that may not even be possible.
I mean, I think it is self-healing because sometimes parts of it break off and it heals again. But if Elon Musk punched through it with a rocket somehow, then I don't know if it could heal itself from that.
Yeah, it's crazy what they're doing, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, I know.
The other thing that I've been kind of researching is these free energy devices and
Nah,
I
that's
don't
all
know.
fake. That's all fake news. They're trying to hide the fact that we can get as much energy as we want from beyond the ice wall by trying to sell us these lies about free energy.
I mean, have you heard about the turbo encabulators?
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure that was a psyop.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, because I actually saw in my research that somebody was able to build one, and he was claiming
Bro's
that
getting psyoped so hard he doesn't even know what's real
he
and
was
fake
claiming
anymore.
that he was able to tap into the energy of the ether. And
Yeah,
then
well,
after that,
he was probably lying. I mean, look, dude, there are a lot of psyops, and you got to be able to have discernment.
yeah, for sure. And then the other thing was, I guess, like one of the dudes you had on earlier was talking about the Atlantic Treaty, which they say was signed in
You
1949.
mean the Antarctic Treaty?
Yeah, which they say was, I think, in 1949 or something. If you do like a quick Google search, the top thing that pulls up is a PDF, and we know PDFs didn't come out until the 2000s. So I don't know where he was, where
I
he
mean,
was coming at.
like they must have written it down or something, but it is a little bit suspect.
Yeah, it's definitely weird.
All right, but it sounds like that you're on your path to truth, brother. So keep on fighting the good fight.
Yeah, one.
All right, let's bring up a guest from the YouTube, from the YouTubes. Amir, can you hear me?
Yep.
All right, are you a globe shill?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So why do you buy into the indoctrination?
I have a question. Could you
Okay,
please
sure.
try convincing me to believe that the Earth is flat?
Sorry, one more time.
Like, try convincing me that the Earth is flat.
Have you been outside?
Yes.
Yeah, the Earth is flat. Just look.
No.
Oh, you're just gonna say nuh-uh? Classic globehead.
No. Wait. Why can I see, like, America from my house?
Because it's too far away, duh.
If it... Oh my god. Give me another reason. Come on.
Yeah, because water doesn't curve around a ball. Have you ever seen water curve around a ball?
No.
Well, and yet you think that if the Earth is a globe, somehow the water sticks to a spinning ball at 66,600 miles an hour?
It's not stuck. It's just gravity.
Oh, so now you have to make up gravity in order to explain away your magic floating water ball.
Hey, do you even believe in gravity?
Gravity is obviously bullshit, dude. It's made up. It was made up by Einstein to cover up for the to cover up the Kaluza-Klein discovery.
Okay. Why do you even believe that gravity doesn't exist? Like, why? If you
Because
just grab a
Kaluza-Klein
pen-
the Kaluza-Klein model makes way more sense than Einstein's bendy warpy space-time.
Oh my god. Okay, look. Grab a pen and drop it to the ground. Why is it
Yeah,
falling?
it's the it's Maxwell's scalar field being induced by the U1 principal gauge bundle with the Z2 symmetry, which is properly modeled by the Kaluza-Klein field theory. There's real science, bro. Kaluza and Klein were serious scientists of the early 1900s, and they got overshadowed because they were revealing the true shape of the Earth.
Yeah. You know what an eclipse is?
Yeah, an eclipse
Right.
is what happens when the sun gets dark or when the moon gets dark.
The sun cannot get dark.
Oh, prove it. Have you ever been there?
Have you ever been there?
No, it just gets
The sun
dark.
It's how is it gonna get dark? Explain it to me, please.
Nobody knows.
Then, from where did you even get that? That the sun
Where did I
gets
get
dark?
Well, because it obviously does get dark. During an eclipse, it gets
It
dark.
does not get dark. Why does it get... No,
I
it
don't
does
know.
not.
Do you think that the sun is on fire?
It's not on fire. I mean,
Okay,
yes,
well
it
then...
is, but...
Oh, it's not on fire, or it is?
Yeah.
Which one? Get your
It
story
is,
straight.
it is, sorry.
Globe
It
heads
is,
don't even know their own model.
It is. Okay.
Oh, okay, it is on fire. Well, how is it
sun-
burning if it's in a vacuum? There's no air in space.
Honestly, I don't know that. Honestly.
You should do your own research.
But-
Wikipedia is a good place to start.
Alright? But the only thing that the sun does is emits light. That's what
It also seems to
what
get dark
everybody
sometimes.
knows. It does not get dark.
Well,
How
what do
can
you think an
something-
eclipse is?
An eclipse is when the moon covers the sun.
Oh, can you prove that? Have you ever seen the moon cover the sun?
Yes.
Oh, okay, prove it.
Just did you ever see an eclipse, first of all?
Yeah, there's this. It looks like a dark moon covers it.
Yeah. And why do you say it gets dark?
Yeah, because it gets dark. The sun stops being light.
Did you? Oh my god. Okay. It doesn't. I can't explain it to you like that. Alright, let's see. What can I say? Well, just look up the definition of eclipse, please.
Oh, I
Just
know
do
what an
so.
eclipse is. An eclipse is what big
Well-
science is telling us is what makes us think the Earth is a globe. But I don't. Why would I believe that when nobody's been there?
What do you mean nobody's been there?
Nobody's been to the sun, doofus.
Not to the sun, but to the moon.
Oh, you think people have been to the moon? That's so quaint.
Of course, my friend. Of course they.
Yeah, then why did Neil Armstrong? Why did Neil Armstrong say it was say he didn't go to the moon? Huh?
He did not say that.
Yeah, he did. He said it to an 8-year-old girl.
An 8-year-old girl. Okay.
Yeah, look it up on YouTube. It's all over the place.
Yeah. It is not over the.
And why did the guy that directed 2001: A Space Odyssey admit on his deathbed that he faked the moon landing?
He did not say that.
Oh, okay.
That's
Well, why is it on YouTube then?
That's bullshit.
Oh, okay. So now people. So now you believe things are fake.
Okay, that's fake. Not all.
Oh, okay. But
fake.
the NASA CGI fake stuff is real. Got it.
CGI. If it was CGI, people would have noticed already.
We did. We've been telling you this for years, but nobody seems to believe us.
No.
No. Oh, that sounds like a classic globehead.
My God. What was I again? Sorry. Where were we? Sorry.
We are on a flat, stationary plane, my guy.
We are not on a flat, stationary plane. Okay. What, keeps the Earth from just flying away from the sun? What's it called?
The Earth's stationary, my guy.
What do you
It's
mean
not moving.
stationary? Why is it not moving? That's why.
Because nothing's pushing on it.
No.
Let me ask you this: if the Earth is spinning at 1,000 miles an hour, and it's orbiting the sun at 66,600 miles an hour, how does the moon stay attached to the Earth?
The moon is orbiting the Earth.
Oh, so is it orbiting the Earth? If it's orbiting the Earth, why
Yes.
why doesn't it get flung back when the Earth is spinning at 66,600 miles an hour?
Gravity.
Oh, okay, so gravity. Wait, so is the moon attracted by the Earth or is it attracted by the sun? Which one is
Yes.
it?
It's attracted by the Earth.
Oh, okay, so then how does it orbit the sun?
No, it does not orbit the sun.
Then why does it keep going in a circle around the sun then, huh?
Because it's orbiting the Earth.
Oh, okay.
It cannot
And yet it's not getting flung around by the Earth moving at 66,600 miles per hour?
It cannot just orbit both two things at the same time.
Oh, okay. So then why isn't it getting flung off?
What do you mean flung off? It's
The Earth is
orbiting
moving
the
at
Earth.
66,600 miles an hour. How is it keeping the moon stuck to it?
Repeat that, please.
The Earth is moving at 66,600 miles per hour. How is the moon staying in Earth's orbit?
What do you mean staying? It's just there orbiting the
Okay, so
Earth.
magic?
That's
It's just
it.
magic gravity again. Got it.
No, it's not magic. Did you even listen to Einstein?
Yeah, I know Einstein better than you did. He made up general relativity to try to cover up for his failed special relativity that was trying to disprove the Kaluza-Klein model, which was proven true and debunks quantum mechanics.
Oh my god. How do you even know he was lying about it?
Because he
Were you
admitted it
working
in
with-
1919 when he spoke to Arthur Eddington.
He did. And how do you even know he admitted that?
Because we have his words that Arthur Eddington wrote in his lecture notes. I actually have a first edition of his lecture notes somewhere. I could go find it.
Find it then.
I actually don't even know if it was a gift from my brother, who's also like super big into the true Earth. And let me see if it's on my bookshelf.
Wait, did you see
Which
true?
more people seem to have these days. No, I think I left it at my in-laws' house. But you can go read it. You can go look it up yourself. There's a great YouTube video on it.
What do you
Just
mean
type
by
in
true?
Einstein lied, and you should find it.
All right. Let's do it.
All right, but I'm gonna let you go while you go do your own research. Okay, Amir? Good luck, and good luck finding the truth. Okay, brother?
All right.
Peace and love.
No, you find it.
Did he say no you? All right, let's bring up the next guest. All right, actually, I think it's getting to the time where we actually should probably end the live, because it's getting, you know how the time zones work on these on this flat plane. Yeah, I think we're gonna end the live here. I'm losing my voice here, and it seems like NASA is suppressing this live because we have less than 200 people here. So y'all, hope you had a good night. Keep searching for the truth.